Chapter 83. Is this the place? A middle-aged man in a Chinese tunic suit came down from a Land Rover. He glanced at the ordinary billiard hall in front of him and couldn't help but frown. This is Big Brother. He, with a bandage on one hand, stood in front of Fu Fan and said with his head down. He, I told you to go to the hospital. The injury is so serious, what if there are some sequelae? Fu Fan sighed softly, you kids really don't let me save my time. I've caused trouble for Big Brother. He's face was full of shame. How's your hand? The doctor said it can be reconnected. But, I don't plan to do it. He's eyes flashed a trace of haze. I have to remind myself that I can't be too arrogant. All right. Fu Fan patted him on the shoulder. Although you've lost a hand this time, you've saved your life in the future. This hand is worth it. Thank you, Big Brother, for your teachings. Well, let me see what kind of person this Li Fan is. As his voice fell, 4 professional thugs immediately came down from a black Toyota next to him. Each of them looked fierce and directly rushed into the billiard hall. Our Big Brother has something to do. One of the thugs took out a dagger and nailed it on a billiard table. At this time, Li Fan was teaching Bai Lin Luo how to play billiard. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but frown. When several big men came in, the students who were playing billiard were scared away one by one. Soon, only Li Fan and Fu Fan's people were left in the billiard hall. Big Brother. It should be Fu Fan. Huang Lei whispered in Li Fan's ear, these 4 people are his professional thugs, nicknamed the 4 King Kong. Well, I know. Li Fan nodded and put down the billiard stick, prepared to receive the guests. Pfft. This word is not very good. Bai Lin Luo couldn't help but ask. That's true. That's not the point. As Li Fan was speaking, a middle-aged man in a Chinese tunic suit walked in. Fu Fan frowned when he saw the dagger on the billiard table. Xiao Dong, did you do it? Yes, the hatchet man immediately lowered his head. Come, you know my rules. Fu Fan hooked his finger, and Xiao Dong's body shook. But without any hesitation, he walked forward and placed his hand on the table. Fu Fan pulled out a dagger and stabbed it into Xiao Dong's hand. Xiao Dong gritted his teeth and did not say a word. This is a man. Brotherly, my subordinate doesn't know how to do things. I'll punish him for you. I hope you can forgive me. Big Brother Fu Fan, good move. Li Fan gently clapped his hands, you really scared me. Little brother, what you're saying is pointless. 2 lackeys had already carried a chair over and placed it behind Fu Fan, letting him sit on it. Brother, I've heard your name from Su Qin. I also know that you may not like to follow the rules of our underworld. I can understand that, because the younger you are, the more you like to destroy. But the older you get, the more you like to follow the rules. Isn't that because the rules are set by you? Li Fan curled his lips. You can say that. But it's not just me, but thousands of people like me who set the rules. Fu Fan said, the rules are set so that this business will not collapse and can be passed down from generation to generation. It may sound incredible, but people like us have rules that cannot be violated. Of course I won't follow the rules of your business. Li Fan said, because I don't intend to join your business. Your rules have nothing to do with me. I understand. Brother, don't be anxious. Listen to me. Fu Fan was not impatient. His temper was obviously more stable than Su Chen's, and his mind was also deeper than Su Chen's. This time, I'm not here to fight. I'm old, and I don't like to fight. Then, Brother Fu Fan, why did you come to my small place? These big brothers were all very cunning. Li Fan did not want to be schemed against by them. Fortunately, Bai Lin Luo had helped him speculate his purpose, so Li Fan was very calm. Brother, in our business, there are always some young people who don't know the rules. Fu Fan said unhurriedly, these people don't even have the basic respect for Big Brother. Leaving them alive is also a kind of disaster. What do you mean? Just say it. Li Fan was not stupid. He could hear the mystery in it. Fu Fan waved his hand. The few people behind him left the billiard hall, leaving only Xiao Dong standing behind him. There are some things that we, the Big Brothers who abide by the rules, can't come forward. Fu Fan lowered his voice and said, I hope you can do me a favor and teach those unruly children a lesson for me. What's in it for me? Li Fan was also very direct. To do dirty work, naturally, there must be a high price tag. Fu Fan's fingers gently fiddled with the number 8 billiard ball. Every time I look for you, I will give you a suitable price tag. Of course, this time is no exception. Why don't you tell us what you want us to do this time? Li Fan suddenly became interested. If it's too difficult, we may not be able to take it. Rest assured, since I look for you, I believe in your strength. Fu Fan said, this task is also very simple. Do you know who Ergu? Coincidentally, I do. Li Fan said. Sure enough, it was within Bai Lin Luo's expectation. Bai Lin Luo sat at the side, pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose, and seemed to be somewhat proud of himself. The day after tomorrow at 12 p.m., Hu Ergu will be at the Songjiang Pier to make a deal with the Vietnamese. Fu Fan's voice was low, but very clear. That batch of goods, help me bring it over. I want it. He stretched out 5 fingers, the price, this amount 5 million. Li Fan opened his lion's mouth. Riches and honor come from danger. He needed such an opportunity. Fu Fan laughed, old brother, you really know how to joke. This batch of goods is indeed worth this price, but that is in my hands. In your hands, it is a hot potato. He paused for a moment. 500,000 is for your labor service this time. After all, this is our first cooperation. I hope to see your sincerity. Li Fan looked around, Huang Lei shook his head, and Bai Lin Luo was in deep thought. Fine, we'll take this batch. Just as Li Fan finished his words, he suddenly snapped his fingers. Before Fu Fan could see clearly, Li Fan was already sitting on the billiard table in front of him, holding the black number 8 ball that Fu Fan was playing with earlier. But Big Brother Fu Fan must remember, I like cooperation, not betrayal. If you have the ability to betray me, I also have the ability to kill you. Chapter 84. When Fu Fan returned to his room, Xiao Dong who was sitting beside him seemed to want to say something. You want to ask me why I'm using a person like Li Fan to do things, right? Fu Fan guessed what his confidant was thinking and smiled. Yeah, Xiao Dong nodded his head, this kind of thing, as long as Big Brother says it, me and a few brothers will do it for you. This kind of thing, it is not convenient for us to do it. Fu Fan leaned on the back of the chair and closed his eyes, but Li Fan this kind of person. He is a knife, using him to kill people is just right. Then Big Brother. Aren't you afraid that this knife will hurt you? For Li Fan this kind of person, as long as you do not infringe on his interest, he will not hurt you. Fu Fan leaned there, his temperament was like that of a harmless old Buddha. Moreover, this is the first time I've met Li Fan, and it's also the last time we'll meet. In the future, our communication will depend on you. Big Brother, rest assured, I will be at your beck and call. But, you think too highly of this Li Fan, I think he is not worthy of your trust. Xiao Dong, you are young, capable, and also have drive. But what you lack is experience and knowledge. Fu Fan smiled and said, people like Li Fan this kind of person is called a martial arts expert. We ordinary people naturally have no way to deal with them. But there is an organization called Genie Way. When he makes a big mess, this organization will naturally come to deal with him. I understand. Xiaodong's eyes lit up. Big brother really has a good plan. The road is still long, look further. After Fu Fan said this sentence, he seemed to fall asleep, no longer said anything, only a regular snoring sound. Xiaodong also did not disturb him, he seemed to be digesting what he had learned tonight. At this time, Li Fan, Bai Lin Luo, and Huang Lei were sitting in the billiard hall, recalling what happened tonight. This time, Fu Fan came to find them. His intention was very obvious, to rope them in. No, this is not rope in, this is use. Li Fan sat there and stretched his body. He wants to use me as a knife to do what he can't do. That's right, but that's exactly what we want. Bai Lin Luo looked weak, but he was excited. Li Fan, it's time for us to show our skills. We need Fu Fan's information, and we don't have to worry about him betraying us. This group of brothers, Huang Lei was a little perturbed. When they want to kick us away, they definitely won't hesitate. Fu Fan won't make a move himself, but I believe he must have something to rely on. Bai Lin Luo was still speculating. I know what it is. Li Fan believed that someone like Fu Fan would definitely know about the embroidered uniform guard. As expected, he was a schemer. He was using him while waiting for him to grow stronger. Then, he would have the embroidered uniform guards take care of him. What a good scheme. How was it? Dangerous? Bai Lin Luo asked worriedly. Don't worry, I can handle it. Li Fan nodded. We just need to think about our own things. Leave the rest to me. Four Eyes, think about our mission plan this time. How to pull the teeth from the tiger's mouth. I looked at the information left by Fu Fan. Bai Lin Luo clapped his hands. Close the door. Okay. Huang Lei knew that the only underling here was himself. He was not ambiguous. He ran to pull the iron door. The lights in the billiard room were turned on, and Bai Lin Luo pasted the information on the blackboard. He pushed his glasses. His brain began to run at high speed. He kept thinking. 2 days later, the location of the transaction is by the river. The Vietnamese will definitely come from the river. And the police on the river will defend in these positions, so they can only come out from here. It should be such a rout. As long as we can stop them before they trade with Hu Ergu, there should be no problem. Bai Lin Luo took off his glasses, wiped them with a cloth, and said, there is a way. We will intercept them here. With that, he stretched out his hand and drew a red circle on the map of Songjiang. The Vietnamese have drugs in their hands. Li Fan's eyes flashed, if we're going to do it, let's do it big. Big brother, you don't want to eat the money in Hu Ergu's hands, do you? Huang Lei has realized Li Fan's idea. You know my joy. Fuck, big brother, you are too presumptuous. Are you afraid? What's there to be afraid of? How many fights can there be in life? Huang Lei was eating an apple. When he heard this, he slammed the apple in his hand on the ground. Motherfucker, I'm going all out. Big brother, I am originally a little punk. I don't have anything else, but I have a life. This more than 100 pounds will be handed over to you. You can do whatever you want with it. Fuck off, why would I want to torture your body? If you really have that hobby, I will find 2 strong men to torture you. I haven't tried this yet. Huang Lei thought about it seriously. If there is a chance, I can try it. Fuck off, where is your integrity? Where is your bottom line? Li Fan was convinced by Huang Lei. The only one who can fight here is Li Fan. Bai Lin Luo wiped his glasses and began to ponder, if I want to eat both sides, I need another powerful fighter. Fighter? Li Fan suddenly laughed. Speaking of fighter, I have a good candidate. It's about time, I will go find him. I also need a boat. Bai Lin Luo continued to ask. Leave it to me. Huang Lei slapped his thigh. Getting a boat is not a problem. Go get it today. Bai Lin Luo said, hide it after you get it and use it the day after tomorrow. Okay, I understand. Huang Lei nodded. Bai Lin Luo urged, you guys go do your own things. I still need to calculate the details of the task. Let's call it a night. See you tomorrow at the billiard hall. Okay. See you tomorrow. The three of them parted at the billiard hall. Li Fan went to the riverside alone. At this time, Guan Wenbao was standing on the cruise ship, waving the crescent blade in his hand and practicing his blade technique under the moonlight. Different from usual, Guan Wenbao did not wear armor. In such a cold autumn night, accompanied by the bone-chilling wind, Guan Wenbao only wore a thin pair of shorts and a singlet, relying on his solid muscles and true energy to resist the cold. The crescent blade in his hand created a strong wind, as if it would turn into a real dragon and roam the sky at any time. Sweat dripped from his forehead and patted his toned muscles. Sir, you have been watching for so long, come out and meet me. Guan Wenbao suddenly pressed down on the blade. His voice was loud and clear like thunder in the dark night. Chapter 85. What a great skill! Li Fan appears from the darkness and lightly lands on the railing opposite of Guan Wenbao. With one foot stepping on it, he is as light as the wind. Why is it you again? When Guan Wenbao sees Li Fan, he frowns slightly. Fate brings us together from 1,000 miles away. Li Fan smiles mischievously as he looks at Guan Wenbao with a greedy gaze. This kind of gaze actually makes Guan Wenbao a little shy. He holds his crescent blade with both hands and lowers his head, seemingly blushing. I don't have that kind of hobby. Fuck your sister. What is this guy thinking about? Li Fan says, this guy is totally thinking the wrong way. Fuck. Big brother, I don't mean that. Li Fan hurriedly explains, between me and you, it's that kind of appreciation between men. I understand. Guan Wenbao's face seems to turn even redder as he says in a low voice, in the club. I've seen a lot of appreciation between men. I'm not discriminating, but I don't do it, really. Fuck, I don't do it either. I have a fiancé, okay? At this time, Li Fan can only use Muronging as a shield. I don't have that kind of hobby. I'm just saying. I really don't have that kind of thought about you. Although he says so, Li Fan can clearly see that Guan Wenbao is relieved. Fuck, this guy's thoughts are really intoxicating. May I know what is your intention for coming here so late at night? Guan Wenbao's speech has always been somewhat genteel, but Li Fan doesn't feel too uncomfortable listening to it. I missed you, so I came to see you. Li Fan is also too embarrassed to directly state his intention, but Guan Wenbao's body trembles. Didn't you say? You don't have any hobbies. Fuck, why do you keep thinking in that direction? Li Fan almost broke down. Everyone will be led astray by you, okay? This is the first time I've seen a martial arts master like you, so I'm very curious and came to see you. Have you just entered the martial arts world? Guan Wenbao was also a little curious about Li Fan. He looked at Li Fan a few more times and finally couldn't help but ask. Yes. Li Fan sat on the railing and looked at Guan Wenbao. You've only been practicing martial arts for a little more than a month. Your words are really hard to believe. Guan Wenbao felt that Li Fan's words had subverted his common sense. I've been practicing martial arts since I was a child. I've been practicing for 15 years to reach my current cultivation level. Your Excellency has only practiced for a little more than a month. I really find it hard to believe your words. I knew you wouldn't believe me. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Let's put it this way. I have a pure yang body. Hearing this, Guan Wenbao's expression was obviously a little surprised. He immediately looked left and right and pricked up his ears to listen. Only when he found that there was no one around did he feel relieved. Thank you for your trust in me. Guan Wenbao put down his crescent blade and cupped his hands at Li Fan. But your words, please don't mention it to others in the future. Otherwise, you'll definitely bring about a fatal disaster. Don't worry. I'm not that stupid. Li Fan waved his hand. I only told you because I see you as a brother. Otherwise, how could I casually mention this kind of matter that concerns my life? I really didn't expect that in my lifetime, I would actually be able to see a pure yang body successor. Guan Wenbao was very emotional. After all, a pure yang body to the people of the martial arts world was really rare. To be honest, I came to you today because I have something to ask of you. Your Excellency, please say it. Guan Wenbao was very straightforward. I owe you a favor. If you have any request, I will definitely try my best to satisfy you. Of course, that is excluding. Fuck, I also don't have that kind of request. Li Fan was about to piss his pants because of Guan Wenbao. This guy, is he gay or not? If not, why does he keep talking about this? Li Fan reckoned that this Guan Wenbao had been influenced by the club for too long. His entire person had started to become perverted. And I have the responsibility and obligation to save him from this weirdness. That's good. Guan Wenbao heaved a sigh of relief. Li Fan really wanted to kick him. I need you to do something for me. I'll come and find you around the night after tomorrow. Don't come here to find me. Guan Wenbao said, after all, this is Su Chen's territory. It won't be good if you're discovered. He thought for a moment and then said, where are you? Tell me a place and I'll come and find you. All right. Li Fan nodded. Then let's meet at the number 8 billiards hall at the entrance of private number 2 high school at 9 o'clock. No problem. Guan Wenbao readily agreed. I will definitely keep my promise. Then it's a deal. Li Fan nodded. A gentleman keeps his word. We'll see each other then. Before you leave, can you also promise me a request? What request? Can you tell me what kind of kung fu you used? 5 animals combined attack technique. Li Fan said with some pride. It is indeed my self-created kung fu. I admire you. Guan Wenbao once again cupped his hands. I, Guan Wenbao, have never admired anyone in my life. Your Excellency is an exception. If there is a chance, I hope I can fight with you again. There will be a chance. Li Fan nodded. He also wanted to fight with an expert like Guan Wenbao. Then, Your Excellency. Guan Wenbao was about to say a few more words when he suddenly frowned. Someone is coming. As soon as his voice fell, Li Fan's body had already fallen down, hiding under the ship. When Guan Wenbao turned around, Su Chen's underling, Yu Feng, came over and scolded him. Guan Wenbao, what the hell are you doing here? You have a match today. Did you forget? Match? Guan Wenbao's voice was a bit surprised. The last time we fought, I suffered some internal injuries and am still recovering. This week, I won't be participating. I should have asked for leave from Boss Su. Ask for leave. Ha! What a big tone. Yu Feng sneered. Guan Wenbao, what a big tone you have. I think you've forgotten who you are. Don't forget, you are our boss Sue's thug. Boss Sue is a businessman. He is too lazy to argue with you. But my temper is not good. You owe our boss so much money, and you still want to be lazy and not work. Dream on. I was thoughtless. Guan Wenbao was silent for a moment. Please forgive me in Boss Sue. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and get to work. Yes. Guan Wenbao and Yu Feng's footsteps were getting farther and farther away. Li Fan could not help but mutter. How much money did Guan Wenbao owe Su Qin to make him work for him? And why would a man like Guan Wenbao owe money to a big brother of the underworld? I really can't figure it out. I'll ask Guan Wenbao some other day. Li Fan did not stay for long. He used Qinggong to escape from the river. Chapter 86. As usual, Li Fan woke up early, but this time, he didn't go to Lin Yuhsan's house. The week of couple time between the two of them had ended. Regardless of whether Li Fan's so-called illness was cured by Lin Yuhsan or not, the promise had ended and Li Fan wouldn't go looking for that girl again. However, the results of this week's tutoring were not bad. Li Fan's grades had significantly improved. Today was a full day of exams. This time, the difficulty of the mock exam was a bit higher. However, what surprised Li Fan was that he remembered a lot of the questions. He had seen them in the papers that Lin Yuhsan gave him before. Sure enough, they were some type of questions. These few exams, Chang Chuanxi personally acted as the invigilator. His eyes were about to fall onto Li Fan's body. It was as if he didn't stare at Li Fan, the next second, Li Fan would pull out a Gatling gun and kill everyone in the class. Li Fan let him stare. Anyway, he wasn't going to cheat. He could stare all he wanted. After the exams for a whole day, Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo went to the billiard hall together. I think Teacher Chang's eyes are growing on you. On the way, Bai Lin Luo joked with Li Fan, maybe, he's interested in you. Go away. A cute girl like you is what he loves the most. Li Fan viciously imagined a scene. Yo, isn't this Li Fan? Just when the two of them were about to leave the school gate, they bumped into a classmate. This person looked at Li Fan with a face full of ridicule. Being in the same class with a delinquent every day really made me lose face. Now, you're finally going to get the hell out of the class. Deng Siwei, be more polite when you speak. Without waiting for Li Fan to speak, Bai Lin Luo first spoke up for him. Hee, Bai Lin Luo, I haven't seen you for a few days and you've become Li Fan's lackey. Deng Siwei continued to mock him, looks like it won't be long before you become like Li Fan. Li Fan was a little puzzled. He rarely had anything to do with Deng Siwei. He had never even spoken to her. Why was she mocking him for no reason? This Deng Siwei was the top student in the class and could be said to be the treasure of the teacher. Why did she have to make things difficult for him? Deng Siwei, aren't you a little too low-level? Bai Lin Luo understood the situation better. You can't catch up with Lin Yuhsan, so you're looking for trouble with Li Fan. Nonsense. I can't catch up with Lin Yuhsan. Deng Siwei dryly laughed, I'm such an outstanding person. If I want to catch up with Lin Yuhsan, it's just a matter of time. You guys are thinking too much. A man like you is indeed low-level. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. I'm not on the same wavelength as you guys. Deng Siwei coldly snorted, anyway, once the results are out, you should get lost. That's hard to say. I haven't had enough of being your classmate. Li Fan passionately said, our fate is not over yet. We still have to take care of each other. Humph. Deng Siwei obviously couldn't win against Li Fan. She angrily snorted and left with her bag. When the tide rises, there are so many bastards. Big Brother is everywhere. Li Fan looked at his back and couldn't help but ridicule. I don't know which pit was not blocked and this guy came out. Who asked you to be in the limelight so much recently? Bai Lin Luo smiled. Moreover, it is said that Lin Yuhsin and Murong, these two beauties, are in love with you. Naturally, there will be people who are jealous of you. What nonsense. I and Lin Yuhsin are just friends. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. It's not what they think. I don't believe it. Don't say if they believe it or not. Bai Lin Luo pushed his glasses. The relationship between you and Lin Yuhsin is definitely not ordinary. I can see that. Forget it. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. You are a single dog. What do you know about women? I know Lin Yuhsin. That kind of woman will never be interested in me. Just as his voice fell, he didn't expect that Lin Yuhsin would be waiting for him at the school gate. The little girl was pretty with a ponytail. Wearing a school uniform, she seemed to be a little flustered. Bai Lin Luo whistled and Li Fan pushed him to the side. What? Li Fan. I think we need to talk. Lin Yuhsin didn't seem to have the intention to let Li Fan pass. She stood there and said to Li Fan with some hesitation. What's there to talk about between us? Li Fan was a little puzzled. Isn't it over? Bai Lin Luo whistled again. Li Fan hurriedly explained, don't make wild guesses. It's not what you think. I mean, our relationship as lovers is over. No, it's not that. Anyway. Li Fan. I don't think our contract is over yet. Lin Yuhsin suddenly said. Ah. What do you mean? It's literally what it means. Lin Yuhsin emphasized again, because I haven't finished what I want to help you with. I really don't have any problems now. Li Fan patted his chest. I've become more popular recently. Some of the girls in the class also took the initiative to talk to me. It's not that. I'm still confident in treating illnesses. Lin Yuhsin rolled her eyes. I'm talking about something else. What else? Oh yes, my grades have also improved a lot. Thank you. It's not that. Lin Yuhsin seemed to be a little anxious. She looked around and then lowered her voice. We've agreed to let you pursue Murong. Oh, this matter. Li Fan muttered in his heart, the matter between him and Murong must not be told to others. If it was known by others, it would cause an uproar in the city. Besides, Li Fan also did not want others to know about this matter. After all, he did not want others to think that he was someone who depended on Murong to survive. He had to rely on himself to fight against the school. How about it, before you pursue Murong, our agreement is not over. Lin Yuhsin saw Li Fan's hesitation and thought that he was moved. Don't worry, after all, I understand girls better. I will definitely help you get her. Alright, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. From now on, we continue with our previous agreement. Tomorrow morning, you have to pick me up. With that, Lin Yuhsin did not give Li Fan a chance to refute and rode away. Hey, this girl, why is she talking to herself again? Li Fan was amused. I haven't agreed yet, okay? Isn't it great to have a beautiful campus belle throwing herself at you? Bai Lin Luo said with some envy, why can't I encounter such a good thing? You should stop it already. I'm already annoyed enough. Li Fan sighed. One Murong was enough for him to deal with. Now, he had to deal with Lin Yuhsin. Where would he find the energy to do so? The two of them were about to enter the billiard hall when a loud shout came from inside. Quickly put down your knife. Otherwise, I will fight you. Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo looked at each other. Something had happened. Chapter 87. Li Fan was worried that Huang Lei would be in danger, so he kicked open the door of the billiard hall and rushed in. When he entered, he was stunned. A tall figure stood in front of him, holding a crescent blade in his hand and wearing a silver coat. He was confronting Huang Lei. Huang Lei, on the other hand, was too weak. He was holding a small switchblade in his hand, and he was thin and weak. "What are you two doing?" Li Fan couldn't help but ask. "Brother. You're finally back. This man is going to tear down the shop. I'm using my divine skill to protect our business." Huang Lei shouted immediately. Li Fan almost vomited blood. "Divine skill. Divine skill, my ass. Your Excellency is back." Guan Wenbao turned around and nodded at Li Fan. Brother, you know each other." Huang Lei was stunned. Li Fan asked, "Wenbao, what happened?" "Your Excellency. He offended my ancestors." Guan Wenbao was a little agitated. He pointed at Huang Lei with righteous indignation. "I must teach him a lesson." "How did he offend your ancestors?" Li Fan turned his head and finally understood. It turned out that Huang Lei had changed the statue of Guan Yu in the shop. It turned out that the majestic green dragon crescent blade in his hand had disappeared, and Huang Lei had stuffed in a golf club of just the right thickness. Guan Yu's other hand was originally holding a tower, but now there was a black 8 billiard ball on it. There was a sign on Guan Yu's chest that said, 10 yuan per hour, 5 yuan per shot. He was drunk. "Fuck. You're so good at pranks, brother, you can't blame me. I'm doing this to promote our billiard hall." Huang Lei felt wronged. "Don't you think this is more in line with the layout of our billiard hall? This small billiard hall. How could it possibly have such a grand layout? It's fine if you let him play pool with a cue, but what's with 10 yuan an hour and 5 yuan a shot?" Guan Wenbao was trembling with anger as he questioned. "Are you stupid? You can play for an hour at our billiard hall for $10. If you only play one round, it will be $5. Huang Lei rolled his eyes. "You don't even know this. Are you normal? I'll kill you." Guan Wenbao raised his crescent blade again, his entire body brimming with killing intent. "Fuck, I'll ask Guan Yu to publicize it for me. It has nothing to do with you. Why are you so excited?" Huang Lei was being chased by Guan Wenbao, and the billiard hall was in a mess. Li Fan hurriedly tried to mediate. All right, stop arguing, you two." Li Fan scolded Huang Lei, "You two, making such a nondescript scene. Hurry up and take off that plate." He pulled Guan Wenbao again. "Wenbao, don't be angry. Huang Lei doesn't know that you are a descendant of Guan Yu. He didn't mean it. Don't take it to heart." "I'm so angry." Guan Wenbao was so angry that he panted heavily. What he hated the most was people humiliating his ancestors. Okay, I respect you. Li Fan had no choice but to nod and agree. "Then you can call me Mr. Half-Immortal from now on." Huang Lei laughed and said, "I won't ask you to change it. Get lost. You lowly people don't deserve to be called Mr." Guan Wenbao didn't give any face to Huang Lei. "I'm already doing you a favor by not killing you. Brother, look, he bullied me." Huang Lei looked at Li Fan miserably. "You have to stand up for me, brother. Don't give me that. You offended him first." Li Fan rolled his eyes. "Don't talk nonsense. Since old Guan arrived early, let's prepare in advance. Huang Lei, close the door." "Okay." Huang Lei stopped complaining and went to close the door. The door was closed, and the lights in the room were turned on. Bai Lin Luo pulled down the task board, pointed at the process, and said, "Everyone, tonight, we're going crazy." Chapter 88. Songjiang at night was pitch black, basically nothing could be seen. Only the city hall and Songjiang Bridge were brightly lit, proving the prosperity of the city. But most of the areas were dark, as if hiding a part of the city's evil. The black boxing club on Songjiang used such darkness to hide their figures. The entire Songjiang was really too big. The Vietnamese Ah Gong also relied on this darkness to boldly drive his fishing boat, loaded his own goods, and headed towards the agreed location. On Ah Gong's boat were 4 burly men, each of them were vicious bandits from Vietnam. Each of them was equipped with a submachine gun, which was smuggled by Ah Gong from Vietnam. This was his first time doing business in the Northeast. The market prospects here were good. As long as he could open up this route and return to Vietnam, his boss would definitely put him in an important position. The sky was drizzling, the river surface was gently shaking. Ah Gong was approaching the shore. At this moment, a small sampan approached in front of him. On it was a man wearing a black raincoat, holding a flashlight in his hand, waving it 3 times in his direction. "Who is it?" Ah Gong's hand touched the submachine gun behind his waist. He was very vigilant. If there was any movement, he would definitely not be polite. Ah Gong spoke in fluent Chinese. His voice was very weak in this rainy night. "I was sent by Mr. Hu to pick you up." The figure on the sampan seemed to be a bit thin. He rushed over and shouted, "Friends, please come with me. You are Mr. Hu's man." Ah Gong waved the flashlight in his other hand at the opposite face, but his face was covered by a mask. He couldn't see what he looked like. "Where is your Mr. Hu?" "He is waiting for you on the shore." The person on the sampan was none other than Bai Lin Luo. To be honest, he was very nervous. Although Bai Lin Luo's acting was outstanding, but facing these vicious bandits, it was impossible for him not to be afraid. But when his eyes fell on the ripples in the water, he slightly calmed down. "It's raining. Our boss was afraid that you would lose your direction in the river, so he sent me to pick you up." Bai Lin Luo's heart was beating very fast, but he tried to make himself appear very calm. "Really?" Ah Gong became even more suspicious. He waved his hand, and the 4 bandits behind him pulled out their submachine guns. But no one knew that at this moment, a figure quietly emerged from the water, then grabbed the boarding rail with one hand, and with a jolt of his body, he fell onto the ship. There was still no sound, which proved that this person's qigong was very powerful. He quickly arrived behind the 4 strong men. Then, using his palm as a knife, he knocked them out one by one. This person was none other than the general invited by Li Fan, Guan Wenbao. Ah Gong sensed that something was wrong. He quickly turned around and aimed his gun at Guan Wenbao. However, the extendable blade in Guan Wenbao's hand popped out. He waved it like a long stick and slapped it heavily on Ah Gong's face. Ah Gong's teeth flew out and he fainted. Li Fan's goal was to not kill a single person. "Done," Guan Wenbao said to the microphone on his neck. The radio was already prepared. Bai Lin Luo let the dinghy approach the fishing boat. Guan Wenbao knew how to operate the fishing boat. He went down to deal with the boatman and temporarily took over his job. While Guan Wenbao dealt with the Vietnamese fishing boat, Li Fan and Huang Lei were also carrying out their own tasks. Both of them were wearing raincoats. They were the first to meet Hu Ergu's men at the port. Hu Ergu, along with 10 elite men, looked at the 2 strangers in front of him. "Who are you?" Hu Ergu did not say anything, but one of his men called Haozi asked. "Boss Hu, didn't we have an appointment?" Huang Lei quickly smiled. "What are you talking about? I don't understand." Haozi immediately became vigilant. Huang Lei continued, "Brother, don't play with people. I brought the goods." At this moment, Li Fan suddenly opened his mouth and said a bunch of messy words. This was the Vietnamese that he had learned beforehand. Although it was not much, it was enough. Mr. Liang, don't be angry. Huang Lei seemed to be a little flustered. He comforted Li Fan and began to speak some Vietnamese. Hu Ergu and Haozi looked at each other. Hu Ergu gave him a look. You are Liang Youfa's men. Of course. Huang Lei quickly nodded. This is Boss Liang's son, Liang Yangqian. Boss Liang is a local tyrant over there. His son is naturally a Vietnamese prince. Our young master Liang personally came to discuss this business. The boss hoped that young master Liang would come to train. Li Fan rambled on and on. There was someone on Hu Ergu's side who understood Vietnamese, and he was stunned by what he was saying. De Biao, what did he say? Hu Ergu asked one of his subordinates who was holding the umbrella for him. He's scolding. De Biao said awkwardly. When translated, it means fuck you. Hu Ergu was speechless. He finally spoke. Tell young Master Liang that it is better to be safe than sorry. Hu Ergu cupped his hands, sorry for being rude to young Master Liang. Tell him not to mind. But did young Master Liang bring anyone with him? Yes, they are all on the boat. Huang Lei smiled. They are all experts in this line of work. With that, he took out a flashlight and waved it at the river. A fishing boat on the river immediately lit up its lights. A few figures could be seen sitting on the boat. A sturdy man waved his hand at Huang Lei and turned off the boat's lights. I heard that the mainland's control is very strict, so we have to be careful. Huang Lei explained. I hope you can understand. I can understand. But, where are our goods? Hu Ergu asked. On the boat, I guarantee you'll get a lot. Huang Lei seemed to be Li Fan's spokesperson. He rubbed his hands and said with a smile, but we have to see the money first. Otherwise, the boat will not dock. Cunning Vietnamese. Hu Ergu sneered, let him have a look. Haozi brought over a safe. After opening it, it was filled with money. Here is 1 million. Hu Ergu said, according to the agreement, 1 million in cash and 4 million in bank transfer. Once you get the goods, the remaining 4 million will immediately be transferred to your account. This Hu Ergu was very cunning. But 1 million in cash is not a small amount. Huang Lei's eyes flashed a trace of greed. Mr. Liang. At this moment, Hu Ergu suddenly extended his hand towards Li Fan, as if he was greeting him. Next month is your father's 60th birthday. I wonder what kind of gift your father would like. Can you tell me? Chapter 89. Hu Ergu was testing him. Li Fan understood. The person behind Hu Ergu who understood Vietnamese had translated the sentence for him. Although she couldn't understand his Vietnamese, she could understand his authentic northeastern accent. But how should he answer? First of all, Li Fan did not know if his father was celebrating his birthday or not. These words could be a trap that Hu Ergu had set up for him. For these people to be able to become big brothers, their brains were definitely not simple. If he was not careful, he could fall into their trap. And even if he knew the answer, he could not answer. Because other than the few Vietnamese curses, Li Fan did not know anything else. Mr. Liang. Hu Ergu looked at Li Fan from top to bottom. In order to hide his identity, Li Fan had brought a pair of polarized lenses. Although it was late, it was strange to bring a pair of polarized lenses. But considering that these Vietnamese drug dealers were not normal people, the other party did not suspect anything. He could not say that he did not suspect anything. This guy had already set up a trap. The few men behind Hu Ergu reached for their waists. Although he did not know if they were touching a gun or a knife, Li Fan could feel a trace of danger. This was the first time he was participating in such a mission, so Li Fan was nervous. There was a cold breeze at the back of his head. If he did not answer, Hu Ergu would definitely make a move. Time was running out. He could not wait for anyone. Just as Li Fan did not know what to do next, the sound of a police siren rang out from the main road. Li Fan's face immediately turned flustered, and he began to curse loudly in Vietnamese. Fuck your mother. You betrayed us. Huang Lei's face changed. He pulled out a Type 54 Black Star. But only he and Li Fan knew that this gun was a replica. It was a broken thing that would jam when firing a BB gun. But the other party did not know, especially in the dark, they could not see clearly. Fuck, we don't know either. Hu Ergu had already taken out a 5-shot pistol from the van behind him and was holding it in his hand. Li Fan's eyes tightened. This guy really came prepared. A few of his men also began to take out their guns from the van, but their guns looked like toys. They were crudely made, and even the triggers were bent with a wire. He remembered what Huang Lei had told him before. Nowadays, some of the big brothers had guns that could fire 5 shots in a row. The ordinary ones were handmade guns made by small workshops. They could only fire 1 bullet, and then the gun would be useless. Who betrayed us? Hu Ergu didn't notice that Huang Lei and Li Fan had disappeared in a hurry. At this moment, Guan Bao stood on the side of the boat, threw a string of firecrackers, and then jumped into the water. Crackle! The sound of firecrackers immediately rang out on the fishing boat. At the same time, a string of light spots flashed in the darkness. It's the Vietnamese who betrayed us. Hu Ergu and his men immediately aimed their guns at the fishing boat. Kill them. Mainland. It's the mainland who want to do evil. Ah Gong was also woken up by the sound of firecrackers. Seeing the people on the shore pointing their guns at them, he immediately shouted, "Kill them." A few burly men also woke up. As expected of bandits, they immediately pulled out their submachine guns and started shooting at the people on the shore. Hu Ergu and his men hid behind a few vans, and opened fire at the Vietnamese. Where's the money? Where's my money? Hu Ergu turned his head, and discovered that the safe in the van had disappeared. He immediately roared. But his men shook their heads, and a few of them were shot to the ground. The Vietnamese's firepower was clearly stronger. Fuck, I'll fight it out with you. Hu Ergu raised his 5-shot pistol, and fired 5 shots at the boat on the river. Ah Gong's shoulder was shot, and his entire arm was shattered. He fell on his butt. Retreat first. He did not hesitate, and gritted his teeth as he made this decision. The fishing boat immediately turned around, and under the gunfire of Hu Ergu and his men, it slowly disappeared into the night. The police were alerted, and surrounded the abandoned pier, and surrounded Hu Ergu and his men. At the same time, on the road towards Jiangnan, a Wuling light van was driving. Li Fan and his men sat in the car, while Huang Lei drove the van. Beautifully done. Li Fan and Guan Wenbao high-fived each other, their hearts filled with excitement. This time it was extremely dangerous, and they were nearly exposed. If not for Bai Lin Luo's preparations, and the police siren in the van, even if he could escape, Huang Lei would have been injured. This is too easy. Huang Lei laughed as he drove, as expected. I, Huang Banxian, am blessed by the gods. Forget it. Li Fan rolled his eyes. It's all because of Little Four Eyes' good planning. If you are blessed by the gods, the next time there is such a task, you will directly go up naked. Rob. That would be too arrogant, and even the gods would not tolerate me. Huang Lei laughed dryly. Let's talk about the 1 million, and the 500,000 from the drugs, which is enough for us to spend for a lifetime. Good for you. Li Fan took out 400,000 and gave it to Guan Wenbao. This 400,000 is yours. How can this be? Guan Wenbao suddenly panicked. How can I take your money? You contributed, of course you should take the money. No. I said it was to return the favor. Guan Wenbao stubbornly said, I will never take your money. Then don't give it to him. Brother, it's just the three of us, 500,000 each. Li Fan stared at him, and Huang Lei quickly changed his words, yes, it's my fault. Brother and the military advisor each get 700,000 each. Just give me 100,000 for me to have fun. This round of fun is quite expensive. Hee, brother, you see, with the few of us together, we can do anything big. Huang Lei was still excited. Why don't we rob the industrial and commercial bank in front of my house? Rob your dick. Li Fan almost laughed. Why don't you go to heaven? Our task this time is actually very dangerous. Bai Lin Luo starts to wipe his glasses. The main reason is that both sides did not guard against us. They did not expect that someone would know about their transaction and dare to rob them. But next time, it will not be so easy. Information is the most important thing. Li Fan said, our team is still very young. If it were not for Fu Fan's detailed information, we would not have been able to carry out our plan. Everyone should keep a low profile for the time being. Bai Lin Luo said, don't spend the money first. Wait for the limelight to die down. Sigh. I have money, but I am not allowed to spend it. That will suffocate me. Huang Lei's lower body is itching. It is my honor to help you. Guan Wenbao cupped his hands at Li Fan. Let me get off here. Guan, don't be silly. Your motorcycle is still in the billiard hole. Oh, Guan Wenbao thought to himself that he is being silly. Suddenly, there is a loud noise coming from the top of the van. Then, a goose feather saber broke through the roof of the van and pierced in. Chapter 90. A man wrapped in a black coat landed on the roof of the van. The goose feather saber in his hand pierced through the roof and into the interior of the van. Lower your head. Guan Wenbao stretched out his hand and pressed Bai Lin Luo's body against the back of the seat. The goose feather saber was almost touching the tip of Bai Lin Luo's nose, causing him to break out in a cold sweat. Who is it? Li Fan immediately opened the door of the van and grabbed the roof with his palm. With a flip of his body, he landed on the roof of the van. On the roof of the van stood the man in black. He was trying to pull out the goose feather saber. However, Guan Wenbao had already pinched the saber with 2 fingers inside the van, preventing the man in black from pulling it out. However, he reacted quickly and gave up on pulling out the saber. Instead, he clasped his hands at his waist and put 2 claws on his hands. The hooks on the claws were very sharp and flashed with a strange blue light. Dipped in poison. Li Fan had heard from Muronging that once he saw a weapon that glowed with blue light, it was definitely dipped in poison. He had to be extra careful when dealing with this kind of weapon. After all, Li Fan only had a pure yang body and not a body that was immune to poison. Li Fan's eyes looked down and saw the jade pendant on the man's waist. Embroidered uniform guard. Li Fan's eyes suddenly flashed with a bright light. These people really came to the door again. Brother, since you're here, why don't you tell me your name? Li Fan's body began to circulate his 5 animals combined attack technique. His body was filled with power, making his ears and eyes sharper. He was also much more confident. Martial artists cultivated both internal and external strength. Let me experience the strength of this embroidered uniform guard. Li Wenjue, embroidered uniform guard, by who? As the man in black spoke, the claws on his hands ruthlessly swung towards Li Fan. This guy's martial arts were amazing. One move was enough to see the result. His claw almost grazed Li Fan's neck as it swept out. Li Fan could even feel the aura of death on the hook. The white crane nods. Li Fan used the crane strike art. His 5 fingers were like a beak as he ruthlessly slapped at Li Wenjue's shoulder blade. Li Wenjue seemed a little surprised. He leaned back and dodged Li Fan's attack. This was the first time the two of them exchanged blows. They tested each other, but neither of them succeeded. Not bad. No wonder Heartless Saber was injured. Li Wenjue said, but where did your kung fu come from? I've never seen it before. Remember, this is called the 5 Beasts Combined Attack Technique. Li Fan said, my original work. Nonsense. Li Wenjue thought that the other party was just spouting nonsense. No matter who your master is, you're going to die today. As he spoke, he constantly waved his hook, but it was all slapped away by Li Fan's palm. Based on what? Li Fan frowned. Based on what you decide my life and death. Because you violated the laws of the embroidered uniform guard. Li Wenjue sneered, any martial artist is not allowed to interfere with worldly affairs. You've already violated this rule. So on behalf of the embroidered uniform guard, I sentence you to death. Bullshit. Li Fan was infuriated. Based on what? You decide the rules. First, I didn't kill anyone. Second, I didn't harm anyone. What right do you have to execute me? Hee, then where did your money come from? Li Fan frowned, but he quickly smiled again. That money was originally dirty money. I'm just doing a dirty job and helping the government get rid of a group of scum. Not only did you not thank me, you even came to find trouble with me. Interesting. You're not a law enforcer. You're just abusing your power. Li Wenjue bluntly said, remember, we're the law enforcers in the dark. Embroidered uniform guard, Li Baihu, is here to take your life. With that, Li Wenjue's claws came at a tricky angle towards Li Fan. The car was only so big, and Huang Lei was still driving, so it was hard for Li Fan to dodge. But Li Fan didn't have the intention to dodge. He took a deep breath and then loudly exhaled. Ha! Fierce tiger roar. Li Fan's true chi burst out from his mouth. This loud shout immediately stunned Li Wenjue. His ears were buzzing, and the world in front of him started to shake. My life will be decided by me. Li Fan used Black Tiger Steel's heart and ruthlessly hit Li Wenjue's chest. Bam! True chi burst out from Li Wenjue's back. He was no longer able to control his body as he fell out of the car and rolled on the ground. But Li Wenjue had true chi to protect his body, so he only suffered a light injury. He only rolled once on the ground before climbing up again. Standing there, he coldly stared at Li Fan. Li Fan raised his middle finger at him. He did not expect this guy to run quickly. Then, with a bounce of his feet, he jumped more than 5 meters forward and quickly chased after the van. Fuck. This guy is too awesome. Huang Lei saw everything from the rear mirror and couldn't help but click his tongue. He didn't even die from the fall. This is the first time I've seen Big Brother beat someone up. He's at least an expert at the acme of perfection. Guan Wenbao also saw the scene outside. Moreover, he cultivates some kind of evil technique that can strengthen his body. It doesn't look like the Golden Bell iron shirt. In any case, it's weird. Then what should we do? Don't worry about it. Step on the gas pedal to the end. Guan Wenbao said as he began to assemble his crescent blade. Okay. I was a racing driver in my early years. If it wasn't because I didn't want to steal Schumacher's rice bowl, I would have been #1 in the world. Hurry up and fucking drive. By Lin Luo actually cursed. Huang Lei didn't dare to make another sound. He stepped on the gas pedal to the end. This wooling light was quite powerful. Like a stubborn donkey, it grunted twice and then jumped out, almost shaking Li Fan off the roof. He was just in time to lie down on the car. His body was like a ferocious tiger coming down the mountain. Both of his hands grabbed the roof and stared at Li Wenjue, who was running after the car. This guy's qigong was also very good. Relying on the fact that there were not many cars at night, he forcefully chased after Li Fan. Li Fan stretched out his hand and pulled out his goose feather blade. He held it in his hand and infused his true qi into it. Then, he swung it fiercely. The goose feather blade drew a beautiful arc in the air and went straight to Li Baihu. However, Li Baihu stretched out his hand and grabbed the goose feather blade in his hand. Then, he put it back into the scabbard on his waist. Fuck. Li Fan was speechless. This guy was really fucking awesome. He had underestimated this genie guard. His fighting strength was definitely not weak. Humph. Li Baihu suddenly let go of his hand and threw out a hook that was connected to a chain toward Li Fan's cheek. Li Fan raised his right foot and chopped down, sending the hook flying to the side. Li Baihu retracted the hook and this time, he threw it on the body of the wooling light. Then, with the help of the chain, he jumped forward and jumped toward Li Fan again. Fuck, this guy is so hard to deal with. Chapter 91. Agile Monkey Jumping Tree. Li Fan's reaction was also very fast. He immediately moved his body sideways and kicked at Officer Li of the embroidered uniform guard, who had jumped up. The power of the kick was enough to send an off-road vehicle flying. Li Wenjue also saw that this move was unusual. He quickly raised his arms in front of him to block Li Fan's kick. Bang! With a heavy muffled sound, Li Wenjue's body was immediately kicked out. However, he suddenly reached out and grabbed Li Fan's arm, as if he wanted to drag Li Fan out of the van. The true qi in Li Fan's body shook as if it was shaking a quilt. Li Wenjue was like a louse on a quilt. He was shaken by the true qi and let go of his hands. This caused Li Baihu to fall heavily to the ground again, but he immediately rolled backward and got up again. As he continued to chase the van, he threw 2 swallow darts at Li Fan's eyes. Great sage star picking. Li Fan reached out and grabbed the 2 swallow darts. Li Baihu's hidden weapon skills were incomparable to the one-eyed woman, Yu Shi. Yet, Li Baihu was not flustered at all. With a flick of his hand, 3 more swallow darts flew out. 2 of them flew toward Li Fan, and the last one drew an arc in the air. It was going to take Huang Lei's life. Li Fan was shocked. When he grabbed the 2 swallow darts, the last one had already reached Huang Lei's direction. This despicable guy. He said that he wanted to maintain the order of the ordinary world, but in the end, he attacked a defenseless ordinary person. Maintain the order, my ass. It was more like protecting their own interests. At that moment, even Li Fan thought that Huang Lei was almost dead. At the critical moment, a crescent blade suddenly shot out of the window, and with a clang, it struck the swallow dart to the ground. Sir! I owe you a favor, and now I've repaid it all. Guan Wenbao opened the door of the van and said loudly, if I knew you 3 years ago, we would definitely be brothers. As he spoke, he leaped out of the van and rolled on the ground. He hugged his crescent blade and steadied himself. His black coat fluttered in the night wind. Li Fan looked at his back and didn't know what to say. Take care of my car for me. I'll be right back. Under Li Fan's gaze, Guan Wenbao raised his crescent blade and strode toward Li Baihu. Do you want to become enemies with the embroidered uniform guard? The descendants of the Guan family know how to repay kindness. No matter who the enemy is, as long as they harm our benefactor, I won't let them go. As Guan Wenbao spoke, he raised his crescent blade with one hand and slashed at Li Baihu. Insignificant skill. Li Baihu snorted coldly and pulled out his goose feather blade, trying to block Guan Wenbao's crescent blade. However, Guan Wenbao's blade was heavy, and it carried the true qi that he had cultivated for more than 10 years. Li Baihu was confident that he could block it, but he neglected Guan Wenbao's true strength. This crescent blade seemed to have a red flame on it. Li Baihu's goose feather blade was unable to block it, and it was directly bounced off, falling out of his hand and onto the road. At the same time, the webbing between Li Baihu's thumb and forefinger was also cut, and blood flowed out. At this time, Li Fan had already left in the car. Li Baihu raised his head to look, but he could no longer see Li Fan, so he could only snort coldly. How dare you obstruct the embroidered uniform guard from handling a case? Your kung fu is inferior to mine. Guan Wenbao laughed. If it wasn't for my benefactor wanting to protect others' safety, you wouldn't be as good as him. You're just relying on the fact that you've cultivated some evil martial arts, so your skin is thicker. My benefactor will show mercy, but I won't. As he spoke, he raised his crescent blade again. Lackey, today I'll let you be a ghost under my blade. Arrogant. Li Baihu pulled out his claws and leaped toward Guan Wenbao, continuously attacking Guan Wenbao. However, Guan Wenbao had a crescent blade to protect himself. No matter how Li Baihu swung his claws, he couldn't get within 2 meters of him. Li Baihu knew that in terms of weapon skills, he couldn't compare to Guan Wenbao. It was as if Guan Wenbao's crescent blade was a part of his body. It was nimble and powerful. He turned his eyes and saw a large truck driving over. Thus, Li Baihu threw out a swallow dart and pierced the tire of the large truck. The large truck immediately lost control. Under the driver's panicked gaze, it was like a wild beast that had lost control as it charged toward Guan Wenbao. Most people would be scared silly when they saw a truck charging at them. Especially when they were illuminated by a pair of dazzling headlights in front of the truck, they were instantly stunned. However, Guan Wenbao wasn't an ordinary person. He was blinded by the strong light, but he simply closed his eyes and only held his crescent blade with a relaxed expression. It was as if the fatal truck in front of him was nothing to him. The truck driver was scared silly. He desperately honked the horn, trying to get Guan Wenbao to dodge. However, at this critical moment, Guan Wenbao suddenly opened his eyes and raised the crescent blade in his hand. Mad Dragon goes to sea. Guan Wenbao's crescent blade was pulled out from the ground, bringing with it a strong blade aura. Swoosh! The truck was directly cut in half from the middle and slid to the sides behind Guan Wenbao. Guan Wenbao still stood there steadily with his hand on the crescent blade. The hem of his clothes behind him swayed with the wind. Guan family's disciple, Guan Wenbao, come forth to pay his respects. Guan Wenbao said in a pretentious manner, but he realized that Li Wenjue had disappeared without him knowing. You ran fast. Guan Wenbao sheathed his crescent blade. It's time to get the truck. This favor has been repaid. I hope we can still be friends the next time we meet. As he spoke, Guan Wenbao also leaped into the bushes at the side with a few leaps. Meanwhile, Li Fan and the others had already returned to the billiard hall. The few of them were sitting in the billiard hall celebrating. A box of beer was placed on the table. Even Bai Lin Luo raised his glass. The 3 of them were all beaming with joy. Big brother, I told you that if I follow you, I will definitely achieve great things. Huang Lei hugged the huge pile of money and almost kissed it. This is the first time in my life that I, Huang Lei, have seen so much money. Waha! Idiot, we just saw it a few days ago. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Huang Lei suddenly remembered, looks like I don't have to worry about money when I'm with Big Brother. This is the first time I've seen so much money. Bai Lin Luo sighed. A few days ago, I was bullied by a few hooligan students. I actually planned such a big case. So much money, what should we do? Anyway, we can't spend it now. Let's hide it in the billiard hall first. Li Fan touched his chin. We still have a deal with Fu Fan. Lei, you handle this matter. What else do you want? Bai Lin Luo guessed something. Li Fan smiled. I want to poach someone. Chapter 92. A shocking case had happened in City A, and it had really caused a storm in City A. Hu Yang, also known as Hu Urgu, was first locked up in the detention center for illegal possession of a gun and intentional assault. It was said that the power behind Hu Urgu was the Red Dragon Gang. Currently, this largest gang in City A was thinking of ways to get Hu Urgu out. Such a big matter did not affect Second Private High School because they were currently busy dealing with a big matter for them, the mock exam. This mock exam concerned the fate of some people, including Li Fan. Li Fan arrived at school early in the morning as usual. His desk mate, Bai Lin Luo, was wearing headphones and reading a thick black book. You're quite good at life, young man. Li Fan saw Bai Lin Luo and couldn't help but laugh. Listening to music so early in the morning. It's English listening. Bai Lin Luo took off one of his headphones and handed it to Li Fan. It's an American female version of Les Miserables. Do you want to hear it? Forget it, I don't understand this kind of bird language. Li Fan waved his hand and rejected Bai Lin Luo's kindness. Can't you listen to something normal people can understand? I quite like English. Bai Lin Luo smiled shyly. Before you dragged me into this, my biggest wish was actually to be a diplomat. Fuck, you're so pretentious. Li Fan gave him a thumbs up. Then I'll give you the position of head of foreign affairs. Fuck you. Isn't that a eunuch? I was just saying it casually. Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo chatted for a while Deng Siwei happened to be packing up her books. Hearing the two of them speak a little louder, she immediately turned around and scolded them. You two, can't you be a little quieter in the morning self-study session? You're disturbing our study, okay? Then I'm really sorry. Li Fan chuckled. I'm really sorry to have startled you. If you have any questions next time, please talk to my lawyer directly. Idiot. Deng Siwei said fiercely, you're still so proud. You're going to be fired soon, you idiot. Watch your words. Li Fan slowly stood up. Deng Siwei, what did you say just now? I didn't hear it clearly. Can you repeat it? Humph. In any case, you don't have much time left. Deng Siwei was obviously a little scared. Once the scores are out today, a poor student like you will have to leave school. Deng Siwei, so what if you're good at studying? Li Fan couldn't help but ask, do you want to go to heaven just because you got a high score? People like you think you're great, but in fact, you're just a narcissistic scumbag. When the students were bullied, did you stand up for them? When the teachers were charging unreasonable fees, did you come out and speak up for them? Nothing. Because you think that because you have good grades, you have special privileges. These rules that shouldn't be in the school are only set up for us ordinary students. You have special privileges. You can look down on us from high above, right? Li Fan, you should have some self-awareness. Deng Siwei didn't want to be intimidated by people like Li Fan. He looked like he was about to explode. We're different from each other. I'm good at studying, so I should have preferential treatment. This is my special privilege. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not studying well. Li Fan clenched his fist, but Bai Lin Luo pulled him twice. TSK, you're just a boorish person. In front of so many people, Deng Siwei didn't want to admit defeat. Hence, he continued to ridicule, all brawn and no brains. I don't want to lower myself to your level. You're lowering my value. Deng Siwei, you can't be too arrogant. Li Fan's temper was also rising. A person's value can't be reflected by marks. If it's not reflected by marks, how can it be reflected? Deng Siwei was a little proud. Li Fan, are you stupid? If I did well in the exam, the whole school and family would be proud of me. As for you, even your parents don't want to talk about your marks because they would feel ashamed. You should learn how to be a good person first. Li Fan looked at Deng Siwei coldly. You should especially learn what to say and what not to say. Otherwise, I won't be able to hold myself back from beating your mouth until it's crooked. You can only show off your martial arts skills. Deng Siwei swallowed his saliva and turned his head. Forget it. Anyway, you're going to be expelled. I have nothing to talk to you about. What if I did better than you? Then I'll eat shit live. At this moment, the classroom door opened. Chang Chuanxi's face was very ugly as he walked in with a stack of papers. He put the papers on the table and said uncomfortably, the results of this mock exam are out. A lot of people did okay. Especially Deng Siwei, he's first in class and second in year. Saying that, Chang Chuanxi forced a smile at Deng Siwei. This smile was as ugly as crying. Deng Siwei proudly turned his head and looked at Li Fan. Okay. Come on up and distribute the papers to everyone. After that, the teachers of each subject will give you a detailed explanation. Teacher. Deng Siwei suddenly raised her hand. Before, you said that some people would be expelled if they didn't pass. You can announce it now. What expulsion? Deng Siwei, hurry up and check your mistakes. There are some questions that you shouldn't have done. Next time, don't be too careless. Chang Chuanxi knocked on Deng Siwei's paper and said. You're expelling Li Fan. Deng Siwei hurriedly reminded Chang Chuanxi, didn't you say that he would be expelled if he failed 5 subjects? Teacher Chang, you haven't forgotten, have you? What nonsense are you talking about? Chang Chuanxi turned his face away as if he didn't want to talk. Li Fan sat in his seat and touched the paper that was just given out. I'm sorry, Deng Siwei. I passed this time. Impossible. Deng Siwei immediately stood up and walked directly to Li Fan's table and looked at his paper. 3 major subjects, 120 plus marks in Chinese, 90 plus marks in English and mathematics. The 3 minor subjects also scored 60 plus marks. History even scored 89. He scored 3 marks higher than her. Deng Siwei looked at Li Fan's paper in disbelief. Her body seemed to be trembling slightly. How could he improve so fast? How could this be possible? Okay, it's time for class. Quickly go back to your seats. Chang Chuanxi urged Deng Siwei. This is a good student. Don't provoke Li Fan. It won't be good if you get beaten up. After Chang Chuanxi left, the history teacher came in. The first class was her class. She seemed to be happy. The moment she came in, she praised Li Fan. This time, the history questions are more difficult. Everyone's average score is lower. However, some students still did well. Especially Li Fan, he scored the highest score in the whole year. 89, the same score as Lin Yuhsin from the experimental class. The history teacher kindly looked at Li Fan. How about this, from now on, you will be the history class representative, Li Fan. Thank you teacher for your kindness. I really like history, so I won't be the class representative. As long as the teacher is willing to teach me more about history. Li Fan glanced at Deng Siwei. Deng Siwei's eyes were filled with anger. However, there are some historical problems that we need to solve first. Chapter 93. Deng Siwei didn't respond. Li Fan also didn't say much. After all, he had to give the old lady some face. Although her lecture was boring, she was very good to the students. She was a good teacher. Li Fan also respected her. Basically, other than sleeping in her class, he didn't do any other bad things. After class, Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo went out to exercise. Deng Siwei secretly pulled her classmate and whispered, "I'm telling you, don't tell anyone." Do you know why Li Fan did well in the exam this time? Why? Because he cheated. Deng Siwei lowered her voice and said it as if it was true. Otherwise, think about it, how could a poor student like him get such a result? That's true. This student muttered for a moment. After a while, he told the other students about this matter. Coupled with Deng Siwei spreading rumors with others, in less than 2 classes, almost all the students were talking about this matter. Soon, even the principal suspected whether Li Fan cheated to get such a good result. Li Fan, after a discussion in the Academic Affairs office, we decided to cancel your result this time. Before school ended, Chang Chuanxi said to Li Fan, "Tomorrow, you have to come to school for a makeup exam." Why? Li Fan frowned. Everyone is taking the exam together, why should I be disqualified? Because your result is suspected to be fraudulent. So you're saying I cheated? Li Fan was amused. You can say that. Chang Chuanxi nodded, but Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. Teacher Chang, your words really make people speechless. Last time during the mock exam, your 2 eyeballs were almost inserted into my crotch, staring at me. Don't you know if I cheated or not? You student, how can you say that? Chang Chuanxi frowned. Even I am not a saint. Perhaps you used a more advanced cheating method, but I didn't find it. You're insulting me by doing this. Li Fan was very unhappy. Doesn't the school have any respect for the students? True gold fears no fire. Chang Chuanxi said, "If you're not afraid, you'll know after the test tomorrow." Teacher Chang, that's not right. Li Fan pointed at his crotch. I also said that you are impotent and have premature ejaculation. Are you going to take off your pants and masturbate in public? You student. How can you say that? Chang Chuanxi was so angry that he almost peed his pants. If you don't dare to take the exam, I'll consider it a failure tomorrow. What a joke. Li Fan sneered. I don't know which idiot spread the rumor that I cheated, and you all believed it. Come on, who said I cheated? Come out right now. I remember Wang Chang saying that I heard it after class. Bai Lin Luo pushed his glasses and said, I also heard it from Chen Feng. Wang Chang was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He quickly pushed his deskmate down. When Li Fan's gaze landed on him, Chen Feng also shivered. I heard it from Yang Wu. In the end, it was Deng Siwei's turn to be the one to push the blame. But Deng Siwei said, your results have always been mediocre. For you to suddenly have such a good result and jump to the front of the class, how could it be because of your own ability? Other than plagiarism, there is no other possibility. So you just blindly spouted a sentence and everyone believed it. Li Fan looked at the surrounding students. Which eye of yours saw that I, Li Fan, plagiarized? Left eye or right eye? This. Anyway, your result is a bit scary. A few students whose results were better than Li Fan said with some suspicion. Without any evidence, you're just blindly spouting nonsense. This is the private number 2 high school student. Li Fan smiled bitterly, including some teachers. It's the same. Li Fan, don't curse here. Deng Siwei shouted, if you have the ability, then take the test tomorrow. Deng Siwei is right. As I said, true gold fears no fire. Chang Chuanxi said to Li Fan, in tomorrow's test, if you can answer well, naturally, you won't be expelled. But if you don't have the ability, then don't blame us for being merciless. Are we students just waiting to be slaughtered? Li Fan said, if you want me to take the test, sure, but there must be a condition. Do you have the qualification to talk about conditions? Why not? Li Fan bluntly said, now that you're committing slander against me, I can go to the police and sue you. At most, I'll trouble the police comrades. Then, for eyes, I remember you know 2 reporters. Yes, my uncle is a reporter from Night Flight. Bai Lin Luo rolled his eyes and immediately nodded. I'll give your uncle an interesting news. Private number 2 high school students spread a rumor and the teacher openly supported verbal violence. The student couldn't bear the pressure and wanted to commit suicide. I think the reporters will definitely be interested. Okay. Bai Lin Luo agreed without hesitation, but Chang Chuanxi squinted his eyes. This black fatty stared at Li Fan with some hostility. Are you threatening me? No, you're the one threatening me. Speaking of which, my MP4 likes to record. Bai Lin Luo took out his MP4, just now, I recorded the conversation between the teacher and the students. Chang Chuanxi's frown deepened. He always felt like he was involved in a conspiracy. That Bai Lin Luo was like a spider, weaving a big net for him, waiting for him to crash into it. What condition? You say it first. Chang Chuanxi decided to probe the real situation first, and then Li Fan said, if my test results are real, I want Deng Siwei to apologize to me. At the same time, I also want all students to have a holiday according to the rules of the National Day. I want to enjoy the holiday life with everyone. Li Fan, don't go too far. It's you who don't go too far. Your condition is also very rude to me. Li Fan crossed his arms, make your choice. Either agree to my condition or make a big deal out of this. Li Fan didn't give in at all. Chang Chuanxi could only go to the principal. What's this student's previous performance? The principal sat in his office, smoking as he asked Chang Chuanxi. Poor student, he's a complete mess. Chang Chuanxi was very sure, in the past, his performance was at the bottom except for history. But this time, I don't know what happened, but he improved by leaps and bounds. He suddenly improved so much. Is there any other way? He must have cheated. The principal took a deep puff, my many years of teaching experience tells me this. Agree to his condition, he's just bluffing. This time, make him get out of the school. Chapter 94. On October 1st, almost everyone has a holiday, but the entire second high school opened its doors to a single student. Other students are on holiday, but Li Fan has to come to school on time to participate in this significant exam. Early in the morning, Muronging deliberately stood in front of the door waiting for Li Fan. Are you going to take the exam? Isn't it obvious how much the whole school loves me? Li Fan laughed. In my entire life, this is the first time the school values me so much. How could I, Murong-ying's man, be looked down upon by others? Murong-ying very normally said, in the future, you will become even more outstanding. Hey, that's because I'm outstanding. I don't want to be mentioned as Murong-ying's man in the future. If I let others mention you, they will say that she is Li Fan's woman. Li Fan raised his neck and very confidently declared. Alright, if you have that ability, I'm looking forward to it. Muronging crossed her arms and looked at Li Fan in front of her. Recently your internal strength has somewhat improved. Which stage of the 5 animal frolics technique have you reached? The 3rd stage. Li Fan stretched his waist, but the internal strength of the 5-animal frolics technique is too stable and lacks explosive power. 2 days ago, when I was free, I slightly changed this technique and made some adjustments to the meridians of the true qi flow. What? Hearing this, Muronging immediately opened her beautiful eyes wide. You're not joking, right? No. Li Fan's serious expression made Muronging somewhat flustered. She suddenly stretched out her hand and put it on Li Fan's shoulder. She felt the true qi flow in Li Fan's body, and then her eyes became bigger and bigger. It's actually true. Of course, why would I lie to you? Li Fan moved his muscles and bones, now the technique is even more explosive. If you don't believe me, look. As he said that, he turned around and struck a small tree in the air. All the true qi in his body became active and then burst out. The small tree shook a few times, and Muronging was dumbfounded by what she saw. I'll forget it this time. Muronging suddenly said, don't casually change the meridians in the future. Every set of mental cultivation method had a fixed route of true qi circulation. Once there was a slight mistake, it would lead to cultivation deviation and be consigned to eternal damnation. I don't want my man to become a madman in the future. Li Fan thought of Ouyang Feng, which was really scary. At that time, it was just a sudden thought, and I changed. Muronging suddenly leaned to the side, and Li Fan's hand was like a snake head. Muronging suddenly dodged to the side. Li Fan's hand was like a snake's head. She had no idea when it had reached her throat. She was stunned for a moment and then slapped away Li Fan's hand. Now, is it still called 5 animals play? Of course not. It's my own technique. I named it 5 animals combined attack technique. Li Fan gestured, just now, it was the snake attack technique. Spirit snake comes out of the hole, which emphasizes on speed, accuracy and ruthlessness. One move to defeat the enemy. My snake attack technique is different from other attacks. It's aimed at the throat. I won't easily use it, but once I use it, it will be fatal. As the saying goes, catch the enemy off guard and catch them off guard. Since there are 2 more animals, then it shouldn't be called 5 animals. Muronging was different from the past. Today, she wore a pink cheongsam with an orchid pattern. This cheongsam not only showed her long and white legs, but also showed her plump chest. She was a beauty after all. Her temperament was good, and her figure was great. She could wear anything to show off her elegant demeanor. Change it to 7 Heroes Fist. Muronging helped Li Fan come up with a name. What do you think? 7 Heroes Fist. It's pretty good. Li Fan also felt that it was a lot more classy. My wife's education level is really high. Even the naming is so good. Then let's call it 7 Heroes Fist. Alright, go to school. Don't embarrass me. Muronging said this and turned to go back to her room. Really, would I do something embarrassing? Li Fan rolled his eyes and then turned to run back to school. Li Fan's qigong had reached a small success. Although he couldn't fly in broad daylight, he could still run effortlessly. When passing by Lin Yuhsian's house, Li Fan subconsciously glanced at her door. This girl is on vacation today. Who knows where she went? It must be said that this Lin Yuhsian's pair of long legs were especially charming. If he could see her every morning, he could prolong his life. As the saying goes, looking at a beauty every day can prolong his life. Just as he was thinking, a familiar figure was riding a bicycle from the side of the road. Lin Yuhsian didn't wear her school uniform today. Instead, she changed into her daily clothes. She wore a white sweater and a pair of black pencil pants. Although the style of the clothes was a bit old, it seemed to be left behind by Yuan Chunli. But on Lin Yuhsian, it gave her the feeling of a beautiful and intellectual young woman from the 80s. A beauty is a beauty. No matter what she wears, she's a beauty. Hey, you. Why did you come out from my heart? Ah. Hearing Li Fan's words, Lin Yuhsian blushed. No. What I mean is, there's no class today. Why did you come out so early? Li Fan dryly coughed twice and quickly changed his words. Damn it, how could I accidentally say what's in my heart? I'm going to accompany my mom to do business today. Lin Yuhsian explained, it's rare to have a holiday, so I'm going to help my mom. How about it, do you have confidence in today's exam? Of course. Li Fan immediately nodded. I was personally taught by Teacher Lin. This kind of small test is nothing to me. Go to hell. Who taught you? Lin Yuhsian fiercely glared at Li Fan. I'm going to ignore you. Don't be serious. Don't be like this. Teacher Lin. Li Fan hurriedly coaxed the little girl. I'm just praising Teacher Lin for having students all over the world and for being good at teaching. TSK, I'm not interested in being a teacher. Lin Yuhsian curled her lips. I just want to be a psychiatrist. Yes, Dr. Lin's medical skills are superb. Most of my illness has been treated. Li Fan touched his chest and said, I used to be a very sick, very self-deprecating person. Look at me now, I'm brand new. It's as if I've awakened the second spring of my life. Go to hell. Lin Yuhsian's face became redder and redder. Just as she was about to refute, a black van suddenly stopped beside her. Then, the door opened, and a pair of hands reached out and directly dragged Lin Yuhsian inside. Help! Lin Yuhsian had just shouted when she was dragged into the car. Li Fan couldn't help but be stunned. This. What's going on? Bride kidnapping. Chapter 95. Yuan San had just been released from prison not long ago. 20 years ago, he had been blinded by greed and robbed a convenience store. He had even stabbed an old man and been arrested by the police. The old man had connections with a leader in the city police station. Yuan San's case could be big or small. After a simple legal process, Yuan San was sent to prison for 20 years. 20 years later, Yuan San's daughter had graduated from university. When he was released from prison, he had turned over a new leaf. However, his daughter looked down on him. After entering society, he could not find a job. His daughter was about to get married, but he did not even have the money to buy her a dowry. Looking at his daughter's disappointed eyes, Yuan San felt an indescribable sense of regret. Once, when he was drinking with his buddies in prison, one of them, Ho Si, patted him on the shoulder and said, Brother San, we don't admire anyone but you. Look, you even dared to stab the mayor's father. Now, even a delivery boy looks down on you. What right do you have? Third brother, listen to this little brother's advice, we have to do something big. What else can I do? I'm already so old. Yuan San laughed bitterly. His laughter was filled with sadness and helplessness. He was already in his 40s and could not even find a job. Even if he wanted to work as a delivery boy, people would look down on him because he had a 20-year criminal record. As long as you have the guts, you can do anything. Didn't Chairman Mao say that the more daring you are, the more productive you will be? Ho Si looked around and lowered his voice. As long as Brother San is willing, I can help you. I have a big deal in my hands now. As long as Brother San is willing, it will definitely be a huge sum of money. Yuan San hesitated. He recalled his daughter's disappointed eyes and was tempted. What kind of deal is it? I have a buddy who has been working as a cleaner in a gold shop. He has been observing it for a while. Ho-si lowered his voice again. It's definitely going to be profitable. Brother San, let's do it. That's too dangerous. Yuan-san was a little worried. This was a big case. If they went in again, they might not be able to get out. Brother San, don't worry. We have it all planned out. Ho-si whispered into Yuan-san's ear. He reeked of alcohol and said, this time, we have Brother Long's support. Brother Long. Red Dragon Gang. Yuan-san suddenly remembered that this Brother Long had been in prison for a period of time. He had received all kinds of preferential treatment there, and it seemed that he had some sort of fate with him. Brother Long has mentioned you before. He thinks that you are both daring and smart, and that you are a talented general. Ho-si chuckled. As long as third brother is willing to lead us, this vote is definitely not a problem. At that time, when third brother has money in his hands, who wouldn't look up to you? Third brother, don't tell me you want to keep living like this. Fourth Ho continued to tempt Yuan-san. Finally, he couldn't hold it in any longer and decided to do it. Brother Long was indeed Brother Long, the boss of the Red Dragon Gang. With his support, even a person like Yuan-san was given a 5-shot gun. He San, and Ho, and San, Ho, and 2 other men, wearing. However, when they were taking the hostage away, Ho-si fired a shot and broke the man's leg. A hostage who could not move freely would only be a burden. Yuan-san made a prompt decision and threw the hostage out of the van. The 4 of them continued to flee in a panic. The police sirens were blaring. If they could not escape by boat at the port, the 4 of them would have to spend the rest of their lives in prison. Just then, they passed by a shanty town and happened to see a girl by the side of the road. Ho-si opened the door and dragged her into the car. "See, what are you doing?" Yuan-san, who was driving, was shocked to see Ho-si pull a girl into the van after he stopped him. "Brother San, we need a hostage. She's perfect." Ho-si hugged Lin Yuhsan and laughed. "Little girl, be obedient. Whether it's heaven or hell, come with me. Help. Let me go." Lin Yuhsan struggled with all her might, but Ho-si slapped her face. At the same time, he pulled out a dagger from his calf and pressed it against Lin Yuhsan's neck. "If you move again, I'll stab you." Sob, sob, sob. Help. Lin Yuhsan could only cry. She screamed subconsciously. "Li Fan. Save me, stop crying. Stop dawdling." One of the robbers pulled out a 5-round magazine and aimed at Lin Yuhsan's head. "I'm so annoyed by your crying. No one can save you now that you're in this van. Do you understand? Li Fan, say one more word and I'll shoot you." The robber scolded. However, Lin Yuhsan calmed down after crying for a while. "You don't dare to shoot me." She reached out her hand and pulled up her messy hair. Although she had been panicking for a while, she had come to her senses after analyzing the robber's words. After all, she had an IQ of 140. She could understand many things easily. "I'm your only hostage. If you kill me, you won't be able to escape from the police." Lin Yuhsan had already heard the police sirens behind her. When Ho-si heard this, his face turned pale. Then, a murderous look appeared in his eyes. Looking at this girl who was not much younger than his daughter, Yuan-san had some sympathy for her. "Yes, if you're obedient, we won't hurt you. After all, we're only after money, not life." "Okay, I'll be obedient." Lin Yuhsan thought to herself that this was the result she wanted. The rest could only wait for Li Fan and the police. No, why did she think of Li Fan? He was just a hooligan student. He was definitely unreliable. If we escape, we'll naturally let you go, Ho Si said coldly. But I, Master Si, don't like you. If you dare to say another word, Master Si will ruin your face. Lin Yuhsin didn't say anything. Ho Si snorted. But at this moment, one of the robbers in the passenger seat suddenly shouted in surprise. Someone's following us. Is it the police? Ho Si looked back and realized that the police hadn't caught up yet. Behind them was a teenager in a school uniform. He was obviously going at 80 miles per hour, but he was still chasing behind the van with only a pair of legs. Impossible. Who is he? How can he catch up with our van? Ho Si couldn't help but exclaim. Fuck, who cares if he's a human or a ghost? Leave it to me. One of the robbers said as he kicked open the van's back door. Then, he held a 5-shot rifle in his arms and aimed at Li Fan. Ah! Lin Yuhsin was so scared that she covered her mouth. Her heart almost jumped out of her chest. Isn't this Li Fan? Why is he here? Why can he catch up with a speeding car? No. This shouldn't be the main point. Li Fan. Be careful. They have guns. Chapter 96. Shut up. Ho Si shouted. At the same time, his companion had already aimed at Li Fan, who was following behind him, with 5 consecutive shots. Li Fan raised his eyes and stared at the gun pointed at him. Bang! The robber fired a shot, and 5 consecutive bullets sprayed out. The bullets were so dense that they could make a hole in a person's body. However, Li Fan lowered his body and almost stuck to the ground. Toad strike. Black toad crossing water. If a normal person were to do this, their jaw would definitely hit the ground and their mouth would be full of blood. However, Li Fan was different. His body was almost stuck to the ground and was less than 5 centimeters away from the ground. He relied on his true chi to propel himself on the ground. Like a yacht moving quickly on the surface of the water, he quickly approached the van. Fuck, what the hell? The robber was shocked. He did not expect someone to use this method to dodge his bullets. The robber immediately lowered his gun and aimed at Li Fan, who was approaching the back door of the van. However, Li Fan had already anticipated his movement. He suddenly slammed his hands on the ground. Spirit toad flight. Li Fan's hands erupted with a strong burst of true energy. Then, with the help of the explosive force, he suddenly jumped up and landed on the roof of the van with a danked sound. Fuck, is this guy a human or a ghost? Fourth Ho raised his 5-burst rifle and fired a shot at the roof of the van. You're crazy. Yuan San could not help but scold, this will get us killed. Fuck, if we don't kill him, we're all dead. Ho Si stared at the movement on the roof. At this moment, 5 fingers suddenly scratched through the metal roof. He was so shocked that his heart skipped a beat. What's going on? The people in the car were all shocked, and with a creak, the roof of the car was forcefully lifted, and Li Fan's face appeared in front of everyone. Hello. Li Fan squatted on the roof and waved at Lin Yuhsin. Dr. Lin, I'm here to pick you up. Fuck your grandpa. Go to hell. Fourth Ho fired continuously, and the remaining 4 bullets were all fired by him. However, Li Fan leaned back, flipped over, and hooked his feet on the roof of the carriage. Then, with a twist of his body, he fell into the carriage. Fuck. The robber who had fired the gun raised his gun and fired 5 shots in a row. Ho Si was reloading, but Li Fan was even faster. He fired 2 white crane nods at the acupoints of the 2 robbers, causing them to lose their balance and fall into the car. Li Fan. Lin Yuhsin was thrilled to see Li Fan barging in like Superman. At this moment, even if she had an IQ of 140, she couldn't control herself. "Don't worry, you'll be fine. I'm here." Li Fan stretched out his hand and gently touched Lin Yuhsin's forehead. "Teacher Lin is my surrogate girlfriend. How could I let anything happen to you?" "But what about your exams?" At this time, Lin Yuhsin was still worried about Li Fan's exams. "How can exams be more important than you, silly?" Li Fan smiled. This smile made Lin Yuhsin feel so warm, as if she would remember it for a lifetime. "Get up, let's go home." Li Fan was about to carry Lin Yuhsin up when the robber in the front row aimed his gun at him. Li Fan lifted his leg and kicked the muzzle of the robber's gun. Bang! His shot hit the roof of the front row, and the shrapnel rebounded and hit Yuan San's right hand. "Ah!" Yuan San screamed. He couldn't control the car with his right hand, and the van immediately started to shake. Li Fan grabbed the handle of the van with one hand and held Lin Yuhsin tightly with the other hand to prevent her from being thrown out of the van. Yuan San could no longer control the van. His head crashed into the electric pole at the side, and the front of the van was dented. The head of the robber in the front row hit the front window and flew out. His head was twisted 180 degrees, and he probably wouldn't survive. Yuan San had fainted from the impact, and his head was bleeding, but he should still be alive. Ah! This story tells us that we must always wear a seatbelt when driving. Li Fan carried Lin Yuhsin and covered her eyes at the same time. It's not suitable for girls to watch. The police sirens outside were blaring, and the police were getting closer. Li Fan jumped out of the van. There was a viaduct next to him, and there was an endless stream of cars below. You're not going to jump, are you?" Lin Yuhsin pulled his hand away and asked when she saw the traffic below. "Yes." "You're crazy." "I'm very normal." Li Fan smiled. "Come, let me bring you to experience the thrill." Saying that, he carried Lin Yuhsin and jumped down from the 5-meter-high viaduct. Lin Yuhsin screamed in fright, and subconsciously hugged Li Fan's neck tightly. She couldn't even open her eyes. While Li Fan was falling, he used his qigong, and used his qi to support their bodies. They became as light as a feather, and lightly landed on the compartment of a truck. He jumped again, and landed on a bus on the opposite side of the road. Bus number 79, which was the way home. "You're injured." Lin Yuhsin saw blood on Li Fan's shoulder, and immediately panicked. "It's okay, I've stopped the bleeding." Suddenly, there was a bang on Li Fan's shoulder, and the shrapnel bounced out. Lin Yuhsin was shocked, but Li Fan's shoulder did not bleed, only a bullet mark. Are you a monster?" This was the first time Lin Yuhsin saw such a thing. "Of course not, I'm just a martial artist." Li Fan said, "Do you know what qi is?" "You mean you're a martial artist who knows qi?" "Yes, although I'm not strong enough, in the future, I'll definitely be an earth-shattering expert." Li Fan had his own youthful spirit, and his body was filled with arrogance. Is the neutron bomb having a fever? Lin Yuhsin subconsciously touched Li Fan's forehead. "Ah, it's really a bit hot." "I don't have a fever." Li Fan said, "I'm not lying. If I didn't have qi, both of us would be dead." "I believe you. But you really have a fever. The shrapnel must have infected your body." Lin Yuhsin looked at Li Fan's wound. "You must go to the hospital immediately." "No." The car had already returned to the original neighborhood, and Li Fan carried Lin Yuhsian and jumped down. I'm not going to the hospital. Don't joke, you're not a real Superman. You're already burning up badly. Lin Yuhsian was very worried about Li Fan, but Li Fan laughed. I'm fine, I feel very good. Let's not talk anymore, I need to go for the exam. Are you crazy, you still want to take the exam? If you change to another school, can't you get into a university? Change school. This is not a problem of changing schools. Li Fan stretched his body, although his head was a bit heavy, he was still fine. Then what's the problem? People live with one breath. Chapter 97. When Li Fan arrived at the school, the language exam had already passed. I thought you didn't dare to come. Chang Chuanxi looked at Li Fan, who pushed open the classroom door, and sneered. Why did you come at this time? Are you looking for humiliation? If you fail any of the remaining 5 subjects, you will be kicked out of the school forever. Don't worry, I will watch how you are fired from the school. Li Fan had taken off his school uniform. The shirt inside was black and the blood stain wasn't obvious. He sat in front of the desk and hooked his finger at Chang Chuanxi. Come on, counter soldiers with arms and water with an earth weir. No matter what trick it is, I will take it all. You can only be arrogant for a while. Chang Chuanxi said and clapped his hands. 7 or 8 teachers came into the room and sat around Li Fan. One of the teachers held a special instrument in his hand and scanned Li Fan. What the hell is this? Li Fan couldn't help but ask. This is the most advanced scanner. It can scan whether you have any electronic products on you. Haha, then you can rest assured that I didn't even bring my phone today. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. My face is really big. The school actually used the best things on me. You won't be able to laugh in a while. Chang Chuanxi was annoyed when he saw Li Fan. Li Fan, do your best. I believe in you. The old lady of history was also one of the invigilators. She patted Li Fan's shoulder. Teacher Yang, please don't say unnecessary words. Chang Chuanxi was a little unhappy. I am encouraging my students. The old lady of history sat on the side and rolled her eyes. I have been a teacher for 40 years. I don't need you to teach me how to teach, Teacher Chang. Chang Chuanxi suffered a setback and sat next to Li Fan angrily. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. This was a math exam. The math teacher sat next to him and stared at Li Fan. Obviously, he was checking whether he was cheating or not. Li Fan took the paper and the pen. He stared at the paper and his head felt slightly heavy. It seemed that Lin Yuhsian was right. He might really be having a fever. However, he had to persevere. He was familiar with these questions. Lin Yuhsian had taught him all of them. Li Fan gently closed his eyes, allowing the true qi within his body to quickly circulate. Every time he circulated his xinqi, he felt his mind becoming clearer. Alright, keep this up and you'll definitely be able to answer all these questions. When Li Fan opened his eyes again, his dizzy head was much better. The questions became clearer, and the train of thought became more complete. Li Fan held the gel pen and began to fill in the answers. The math teacher sat at the side, and he couldn't help but be surprised. Li Fan's train of thought was correct. Although there were some careless areas, at least he knew how to solve these questions. How is it? Seeing that Li Fan was busy answering questions, Chang Chuanxi asked the math teacher. He's very smart. The math teacher was happy, especially this question. I have never taught him the solution method. He must have learned this by himself. Chang Chuanxi was speechless. Could it be that Li Fan was really enlightened? Li Fan continued to answer the questions. In less than an hour, he had finished a set of questions. "Child, you answered very well." The math teacher was very happy. He directly scored 95 points on the paper. "If you can be more careless, you can at least get 120 points. Look, here, here, and here. If you are a little more serious." "All right, let him take the next question," Chang Chuanxi urged. The math teacher shut his mouth and stood aside obediently. Now that Chang Chuanxi was the spokesperson of the school's principal, although he didn't like this guy, he couldn't refute him. Then it was English, and Li Fan answered it easily. After listening to the math teacher's suggestion, Li Fan became more serious. Although he spent more time, he would check every question after he finished. Although the time was longer, the efficiency was higher. 1.5 hours later, an English paper was just finished. The English teacher immediately scored 105 points. There are 3 more minor subjects. Li Fan smiled and looked at Chang Chuanxi. "Teacher Chang, are you excited that you have an outstanding student? There are 3 more subjects. I hope you can be as successful." Chang Chuanxi wasn't in a good mood. "You can take a break." "No need. There are 3 more subjects. Take them out together." "You are too arrogant." Chang Chuanxi was about to lose his temper. "I think it's fine. Give him a comprehensive liberal arts paper," the old lady with history said. "All right. Although this paper is for grade 2, it is very difficult." This set of papers was reserved for the college entrance exam mock exam. The questions were more difficult. For students, the mock exam was more difficult. When they saw the college entrance exam questions, they would find that the questions were much simpler. This would give them more confidence and they would be able to answer the questions more smoothly. Now this set of papers was placed in front of Li Fan. The questions were indeed a bit difficult, but for him, it was still something he could solve. "Thank you, Lin Yuhsin." Li Fan began to answer the questions. The 3 teachers sat beside Li Fan and watched. Under such supervision, Li Fan couldn't cheat. The strictness of this exam was comparable to a prison. "Not bad. Li Fan, you answered this question very well. Your view is also very unique." The old lady with history watched Li Fan answer the questions and couldn't help but praise him. "Teacher Yang, this student is answering the questions. Please don't talk." "Oh, okay." The old lady looked very happy. "Little Chang, I am thirsty. Can you pour me a glass of water? I'm getting old. It's inevitable that I have a lot of things to do." Sure. This old lady was a relative of the school's director. Even if Chang Chuanxi was unhappy, he couldn't show it. "Sure, Teacher Yang. I will get you a glass of water." Chang Chuanxi went to get the water. The old lady winked at Li Fan and Li Fan gave a thumbs up. After that, under Chang Chuanxi's supervision, Li Fan finished answering the last question. Liberal arts test, 220 points. Very high. The old lady looked at Li Fan's paper, completely qualified. "Thank you, teacher. You have worked hard today." Li Fan's tense nerves finally relaxed. His vision started to turn black and he slumped on the table. "Li Fan. Li Fan." The old lady pushed Li Fan twice, but he didn't react at all. "Li Fan. What is this kid doing again?" Chang Chuanxi curled his lips. "Does he want to sleep in the classroom?" "Shut up. He is sick." The old lady reached out and touched Li Fan's forehead. "God, it's so hot." "Ah. Is he really sick?" "Nonsense. Quickly send him to the hospital." Chapter 98. Li Fan saw that Muronging was lowering her head to kiss him. She seemed to have changed and became very gentle. Wife, in broad daylight, isn't it not good for us to do this? Li Fan was somewhat resistant. I want to give birth to your child. Murong said very directly. I'm not mentally prepared yet, then we're not kissing. Wait a minute, I'll take off my pants first. No, we need to kiss first. Murong Ying's face seemed to have turned into Murong's face. Li Fan said that no matter which one she was, he would not suffer a loss anyway. Whether it was a storm or a storm, come on. Life is like a rape. If you can't resist, you have to learn to enjoy it. This kind of life creed is the truth. Without waiting for Li Fan to enjoy it, Murong's face in front of him began to blur again. After a while, it turned into Tai Zhu's face. Ah! Li Fan exclaimed, scaring Tai Zhu. Son-in-law, you're finally awake. Tai Zhu's big face left Li Fan's sight. Missy, son-in-law is awake. Li Fan was also completely shocked awake. A beautiful dream was ruined by this scary old woman. He opened his eyes, looked around and found that he was lying in the hospital. The ward was very quiet. There were not as many people and noises as he imagined. Don't look anymore, I see you. Murong was sitting at the side, wearing her longest cheongsam. This time, it was emerald green, dotted with golden chrysanthemums. Your outfit is so vulgar. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. Retract your gaze from my legs before you say that. Murong Ying's words made Li Fan blush. I'm just studying the brand of your stockings. You think too much, I never wear stockings. This time, Murong was actually reading the English version of Harry Potter. This woman was actually interested in such a book. Do you think there's magic in this world? Murong suddenly asked. Where did magic come from? That's all nonsense. Li Fan tried to sit up from the bed, but his body felt weak. Fuck, what's wrong with me, you still don't understand. Murong closed the Harry Potter book. Your body's functions have been destroyed, and you're so badly infected, yet you still want to take the exam. You're really something. Of course I have to take the exam. Li Fan was not convinced and said, no matter what, we can't lose our pride. So what if I'm weak? I'm not dead yet. I'll be fine again in a few days. You really know how to show off. Murong gave a look to Tai Zhu. Tai Zhu came over with a bowl of medicinal soup. Young master, this is a medicinal soup made with good herbs. After you drink it, you'll get better faster. I don't want to drink it. Li Fan curled his lips, it's too bitter. Where's your ambition just now? Murong smiled, now you're afraid of bitterness. It's not the same, okay? Li Fan braced himself and said, I'm not afraid of bleeding. But I don't want to eat bitterness. You're really stubborn. Murong rolled her eyes at Li Fan, drink the medicine. I won't drink it even if I die. You can kiss me after you drink it. A man should change himself once in a while. Li Fan picked up the bowl and drank the medicine inside. Too bitter. He could not help but curled his lips. Can I kiss you now? Okay, I'll sit here as long as you can kiss me. Murong smiled slyly. Fuck, you're cheating. I've already said that I want you to kiss me, not that I'll take the initiative to kiss you. Murong squinted her eyes at Li Fan, you can't do it and you're blaming me. Fuck you, you actually said that I can't do it. Li Fan was angry. He struggled to sit up, but Tai Zhu pushed him back to the bed. Young master, you need to have a good rest. As he spoke, Tai Zhu pursed his lips, what kiss, I can do it on behalf of eldest miss. I'd better continue to recuperate. Li Fan turned his head, feeling as if he had returned to hell. Such a difficult life. Alright, you can recuperate here. Muronging stood up, her beautiful legs were covered under the cheongsam. You've won 7 days of leave for you guys. Well, there's only 5 days left. Enjoy it. With that, she turned and walked out of the ward. Why don't you go with her? Li Fan asked Taizhu. Young master, Miss said to let me take care of you these few days. Taizhu said shyly, although I'm a virgin. But I've thought it through. Mrs. Order, a maid's order. Tonight, I'll sleep on the same bed with young master. Whatever young master wants to do. This one won't resist. You'd better sleep on the bed next to us. Li Fan almost collapsed. I'm not used to sleeping with 2 people. Moreover, you're too big. If I squeeze in with you, do I have a place to sleep? Young master. You can sleep. Sleep on Rinjiao's body. So embarrassing. Taizhu covered his face and swayed his waist. Li Fan wished he could faint again. Be obedient. Taizhu. Let me rest by myself. Li Fan said weakly. Living with Taizhu was really difficult. Alright, young master has been haggard recently. It's not suitable for you to do some strenuous exercise. Taizhu nodded. I have to be considerate of young master. Then young master can rest for a while. What do you want to eat? Taizhu will buy it for you. Other than hair products, anything else is fine. I want to eat KFC. No, it's hair products. I want to eat squirrel fish. No, it's hair products. I want to eat streaky pork. It's also hair products. Fuck. Li Fan collapsed. I want to eat shit. This doesn't seem to be hair products. Young master, do you want to eat hot or cold? Get lost. Li Fan really didn't know whether this Taizhu was Muronging who left him here to take care of him or to punish him. He simply closed his eyes and quietly felt the flow of true qi in his body. The novels he read mentioned true qi healing. He didn't know if he could try it. He let the true qi continue to circulate in his body. This way, he really felt a lot more comfortable. To speed up the recovery of his injury, he still had 1.5 million that he hadn't spent yet. How to use this money, he really needed to make a good plan. Li Fan thought very well. Unknowingly, he slowly fell asleep. It wasn't until midnight that he woke up again. He felt a little thirsty. Young master, you're awake. Taizhu was sitting next to him, knitting a sweater. It was hard to imagine how such a thick hand could do such a fine job. I'm a little thirsty. Then I'll go buy some water for young master. You've worked hard. Li Fan was still a little tired. His body needed to recover, so he was a little tired. After Taizhu went out for a while, the ward door was slowly pushed open. Taizhu. You're back. I hope you bought Coke. Li Fan also didn't know why, but at this time, he became very greedy. I brought death. What entered his eyes was a somewhat familiar man. Chapter 99. Li Wenjue was the newly appointed Baihu. He had worked hard and completed many tasks before he was promoted to this position. He would not allow himself to fail. Absolutely not. After asking around, he finally found out Li Fan's current location. He was hospitalized. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. However, during the day, there was an expert protecting him. Therefore, Li Wenjue had quietly waited for this moment of hardship. I bring death. Li Wenjue pushed open the door of the ward. In his hand was a gleaming goose feather saber. It dazzled Li Fan's eyes. What the fuck? Why did it have to be this guy? Can't the Imperial Secret Service's 11th Division take a break? Li Fan couldn't help but complain. I'll take a break after I kill you. As he spoke, Li Wenjue took a step forward. The goose feather saber in his hand went straight for Li Fan's skull. Damn you! Li Fan grabbed the shelf that was used for his foredrip and threw it. Clang! The shelf was immediately split in half. At the same time, Li Fan stretched out his hands and caught the goose feather saber. Empty-handed blade catch. Although he had never practiced it before, it was always good to give it a try. This was the first time Li Fan tried it. He didn't expect it to be so useful. He really caught Li Wenjue's goose feather saber. You know empty-handed blade catch. Li Wenjue was a little surprised. Where did you learn it? I'm new to it. Please forgive me. As Li Fan spoke, he lifted his leg and kicked him in the stomach. Although Li Fan's body was a little weak, this kick contained his vital energy. Li Wenjue was immediately sent flying. He flew more than 3 meters away and hit the wall behind him. Cracks appeared on the wall. It was obvious how heavy Li Fan's kick was. But Li Wenjue just slid down and dusted himself. I don't like prey that fight back. Li Wenjue said. You don't like posers either. As Li Fan spoke, he took a deep breath and let the Dantian Qi quickly circulate in his body. The feeling of true energy flowing through his body was very comfortable. Li Wenjue had once again arrived in front of him. At the same time, he drew his goose feather saber and slashed at Li Fan's neck. Needless to say, this fellow's saber technique was very good. Even Li Fan had to nod his head in praise. But now was not the time to praise others. Li Fan's body lay down, avoiding Li Wenjue's blade. At the same time, he rolled to the side and fell off the bed. At this moment, Li Wenjue had already raised his saber and chopped the sickbed in half. Where do you think you can hide? Li Wenjue sneered, I have already locked the door. This will be your grave. I am still young. As for the matter of entering the grave, it is better for you to do it yourself. Li Fan did not care whether his body could withstand it or not. He forcefully gathered his true energy. With true energy circulating throughout his body, Li Fan decided to use the least amount of strength to block Li Wenjue. Snake strike. Li Fan's hands were like a snake, ready to strike. You want to defeat me? Li Wenjue spun the goose feather saber in his hand, with your mediocre martial arts. You want to defeat my minor phaseless magic. In your dreams. Minor phaseless magic. Li Fan rolled his eyes, is it your body-strengthening martial art? Of course, this is our genie guard's martial art. Li Wenjue was a bit proud, and my gate-breaking saber. Remember, you will die under this saber technique. Die your sister, you damn pervert. Although Li Fan was cursing, he did not make a move. Snake strike had always been a defensive counterattack, waiting for the best opportunity to deal a fatal blow. But I am very curious, what is the zodiac sign of such a pervert? Please tell me, dear. A dead man still needs to ask so many questions. Li Wenjue did not answer. He just stepped forward and slashed at Li Fan's vital point. Li Fan took a step forward. His arm was like a snake, wrapping around Li Wenjue's wrist. Ha! Li Wenjue cried out in alarm, but Li Fan's palm had already hit his throat. Bang! The result was an explosion. Li Wenjue's throat trembled a bit, but it was not pierced. He just tilted his head back and looked at Li Fan with disdain. You are too weak. Li Wenjue said, even the golden body created by my minor phaseless magic can't be broken. Li Wenjue pushed Li Fan away and continued to attack with his goose feather saber. Li Fan also entangled Li Wenjue's hands one after another. The spirit snake comes out of its hole kept striking Li Wenjue's throat without giving up. But Li Wenjue's golden body created by the minor phaseless magic was indeed very tyrannical. Li Fan's attacks had no effect. You still don't understand. Li Wenjue looked at Li Fan as if he was looking at an ant. You don't understand the power of the genie guards. Your so-called golden body, let me break it today. Li Fan quickly mobilized the mental cultivation method in his body and circulated his true qi. Although Li Fan's body would be hurt if he used his internal energy at full force, it was not the time to protect himself. Life or death. His life was hanging by a thread. Don't struggle, go die. Li Wenjue's goose feather saber went straight for his neck, but Li Fan's waist shrank back, dodging Li Wenjue's saber. At the same time, his left hand condensed a ball of qi, which was completely condensed from his true qi. Golden Toad Spitting Pearl. Li Fan slapped Li Wenjue with his palm. Li Wenjue's expression changed, as if he felt something, and hurriedly raised his goose feather saber to block in front of him. Dang! Li Fan's palm shot out a white cyclone. This cyclone, like a cannonball, instantly bounced out and hit Li Wenjue's goose feather saber, easily breaking it into pieces. At the same time, the white cyclone hit Li Wenjue's chest. My golden body. It can't be broken. Li Wenjue stood there, opened his arms, golden body invincible. Bang! Li Fan's cyclone tore the clothes on his lower abdomen and sent Li Wenjue flying. This time, Li Wenjue heavily hit the wall behind him, leaving a dent in the wall. His golden body was broken, and he directly spat out a mouthful of blood. Li Fan forcibly circulated his inner qi, squatted on the ground, and spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, although Li Wenjue had suffered some internal injuries, he had received devilish training since he was a child, so he could endure it. He slowly crawled up, stretched his hand behind his back, and took out the pair of deadly claws. I admit, I have underestimated you, but this time, your life is over. Without waiting for Li Wenjue to come over, the locked door of the ward was suddenly kicked open, and a sturdy body appeared, grabbed Li Wenjue's neck with one hand, and threw Li Wenjue out like a chick. Li Wenjue's body smashed through the window, and fell downstairs. Chapter 100. Son-in-law, are you alright? Tai Zhu hurriedly steps forward and reaches out to take off Li Fan's clothes, scaring Li Fan into covering his body. What are you trying to do? I want to check your body to see if you are injured or something. Tai Zhu says with concern. Li Fan takes 2 steps back. I am fine. Don't get too close. You will injure me. Oh, alright. Tai Zhu obediently takes 2 steps back while Li Fan walks to the window and takes a look outside. In the vast night, the garden below is also quiet. Li Wenjue's figure is nowhere to be seen. Damn it, he escaped again. Li Fan frowns, feeling very unhappy. This damned Li Wenjue. Wait till I recover, I will definitely let him know what pain is. Is it someone from the genie guard again, son-in-law? Tai Zhu cannot help but ask. Yes, by who? If you did not come back in time, I would have been sent from the intensive care unit to the morgue. It's my fault. Tai Zhu is extremely regretful. I should not have left son-in-law's side. I should have slept on the same bed with son-in-law and used my gentle embrace to protect son-in-law. Forget about the latter. I am fine anyways, you don't have to blame yourself. Li Fan decides to consult Tai Zhu. Speaking of which, Tai Zhu, do you know about the minor phaseless magic technique? I have heard some rumors. Tai Zhu nods his head. This is a popular evil technique in Jianghu. Only a virgin can practice it. It is said that when a person who practices this technique reaches a certain level, he would be invulnerable to swords and spears, fire and water. That bad? Li Fan couldn't help but be surprised. Yes, and I heard that this minor phaseless magic technique has already been learned by an expert from the genie guard. That Baihu who wanted to injure son-in-law, is he practicing this evil technique? Li Fan nods his head. Fortunately my toad strike technique can break his golden body. Actually the crane strike technique's white crane nod technique should work as well. But recently my body is weak and cannot use all my internal force. Next time I catch him, I will let him taste my 7-hero fist. Son-in-law, rest assured, you can stay in the hospital peacefully. Tai Zhu puffed out his sturdy chest, I'll protect you here. You can sleep peacefully. Li Fan said, it's because you are here that I can't sleep. I can sleep, but you're not allowed to do anything to me, understand? Never thought son-in-law is willing to protect you. I didn't expect that the son-in-law would be willing to keep his chastity for eldest miss. Tai Zhu blushed, don't worry son-in-law, you haven't been feeling well these past 2 days. Tai Zhu can't delay son-in-law's recovery for a moment of happiness. When son-in-law recovers, Tai Zhu will gallop crazily with you. Gallop your grandpa. Li Fan observed again. It seemed that with Tai Zhu here, Li Wenjue would not dare to come again. Only then did he return to his bed with a peace of mind. He closed his eyes again, searching for the drowsiness that he had almost lost. Li Wenjue was like an experienced hunter, quietly hiding in the bushes of the hospital for more than an hour. He calculated that the time was almost ripe, so he sneaked down to the inpatient department and easily jumped to the 3rd floor with 8 steps overtaking Cicada. After a few leaps, he quickly approached Li Fan's window. The mission had to be completed. No matter who tried to stop him, he would die. Li Baihu's eyes were filled with ferocity. His body was almost stuck to the building like a gecko. However, at this moment, a woman's voice sounded from the top of the building. Your Excellency's visit in the middle of the night is truly the conduct of a thief. Li Baihu raised his head in surprise and saw a woman wearing a cheongsam with a sword in her hand. This is a place for rest. If you take another step in, you will die. No one can stop the footsteps of the embroidered uniform guards. Li Baihu threw out 3 swallow darts, which went straight for the woman above his head. However, the woman swung the sword in her hand, and a white crescent-shaped sword energy immediately descended from the sky. At that moment, Li Baihu felt death looming over him. The 3 swallow darts that he threw out were instantly destroyed by the sword chi. Run! There was only one thought in Li Baihu's mind. He immediately stopped moving and stepped on the wall of the building. His whole body bounced out of the building. Whoosh! The sword energy instantly brushed past the soles of his shoes and slashed at the cement platform below. The cement platform was immediately cut in half, and the soles of Li Baihu's shoes were also cut off. If he had been 1 step slower, it would have been his feet that would have been cut off. What a powerful sword technique! Li Baihu looked at the woman under the night sky. You. Who are you? How dare you meddle in the affairs of the embroidered uniform guards? My name is Muronging. Muronging pointed her sword at Li Baihu below. If you don't leave now, the next sentence will be your last words. Damn! He actually met the chief of Wulin. Muronging had always been a legendary figure in Jianghu. Li Baihu had heard of her but never seen her. He didn't expect to see her today. She really lived up to her reputation. He knew that he couldn't beat her, so he didn't even dare to say anything. Muronging looked at him coldly. Li Baihu could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger. If he wanted to kill Li Fan, he could only wait until Muronging was not here. What did this guy do to deserve Murong Ying's protection? There were rumors in Jianghu that Murong Ying found a husband for him. Could it be him? Damn it. It seemed that he had to find another opportunity. Li Baihu wasn't a brainless person. He didn't say anything and cupped his hands at Murong Ying. Then, he turned around and jumped into the forest, disappearing. He only learned martial arts for a few days and he already caused so much trouble. Murong Ying sighed softly. It seems that this husband of mine will either die a horrible death or become an overlord. Husband, oh husband, don't disappoint me. Li Fan was woken up by a phone call. Early in the morning, he didn't know who it was that kept calling him. When Li Fan opened his eyes, he saw Tai Zhu holding his phone with one hand. His arm was full of veins. Li Fan hurriedly shouted. Tai Zhu, what are you doing? I think it's very noisy. Help young master eliminate it. Fuck. Can't you turn off your phone? Li Fan snatched the phone. Life was very tight now. How could he be so wasteful? The caller was a stranger. When Li Fan picked it up, a dull voice came from the phone. Li Fan. I'm Li Fan. Who is this? For some reason, Li Fan felt that the caller didn't have good intentions. At noon, go to Shunfeng Chess Room at Gonshui Road alone. If you're late by a minute, I'll chop off one of Huang Lei's fingers. If you're late by 10 minutes, you'll have to wait to collect Huang Lei's corpse. With that, the caller hung up. What the fuck, what's going on? Li Fan didn't understand the situation. However, Huang Lei seemed to be in danger. What should he do now? Chapter 101. Call the police. When he told Bai Lin Luo about this, Little Four Eyes gave him a suggestion. The enemy is in the dark while we're out in the open. If we go there rashly, our chances of winning are too small. Little Four Eyes gave Li Fan the most rational analysis. So, it's better to call the police. No, if we call the police, Lei might be in danger. Li Fan shook his head. You don't have to interfere in this matter. Since the other party asked me to go, I will go and meet them. Son-in-law, you can't go anywhere. Tai Zhu blocked Li Fan's way. Missy said that you must recuperate. Recuperate my ass. My friend is going to be beheaded. Li Fan jumped off the bed. Tai Zhu, where did I put my uniform? Wearing a patient's uniform was too eye-catching. Your uniform is here. No, you can't go out. You must rest well. Tai Zhu didn't let Li Fan leave. Yeah, Tai Zhu. Li Fan knew that Tai Zhu was a stubborn person. He suddenly looked at the door. Wife, you're here. Missy. The moment Tai Zhu turned around, Li Fan had already snatched his uniform and jumped out of the window. Ah, son-in-law! Tai Zhu exclaimed. Li Fan had already run far away with his qin gong. Oh no! I have to inform Missy about this. I'm out. Li Fan landed lightly on the grass and put on his school uniform at the same time. Lazy, you must hold on. I'm coming to save you. Shunfeng Chess Room. Although it was called a chess room, it was actually a mahjong parlor. Wu Ji had been running this mahjong parlor for a long time and business had always been good. He and Hu Ergu had known each other for a long time. They were brothers who worked in the same gang. Later, when Hu Ergu joined the Red Dragon gang, his status rose and his position became more prominent. His mahjong parlor didn't have anyone protecting it. It was all because of his name. Recently, Hu Ergu went to the palace for the second time. Wu Ji couldn't sit still anymore and followed him around. Heaven rewarded those who worked hard, and he finally found a clue. Huang Lei, who was originally a poor and dejected hooligan, suddenly became rich recently. When he had nothing to do, he would invite a group of scoundrels out to eat and drink, as if he had suddenly become rich. Wu Ji was more observant. He checked Huang Lei's recent expenses and found that Huang Lei rented a small dinghy in Songjiang a few days ago. After mingling in the underworld for so many years, Wu Ji had a clever heart. He couldn't help but be more observant. Wu Ji sent someone to catch Huang Lei. As a result, this Huang Lei seemed to be glib, but after playing for a long time, he didn't forget to say a word. However, Wu Ji also found out that he recently recognized a big brother named Li Fan. Since Huang Lei couldn't say anything, he could only use his big brother as a breakthrough. Brother, what if the big brother Huang Lei doesn't say anything? Wu Ji had a top fighter under his command named Lin. He had been a soldier for 2 years. He could fight and fight, so he was deeply liked by Wu Ji. Wu Ji played a red card and sneered, "Do you still need to ask your brother this question?" He said and touched a new card, "What kind of person is this Li Fan? I've investigated him. He's just a high school student. At most, he knows some martial arts. In the underworld, there are many people who know how to play a few punches. Is this kind of person worthy to be the big brother?" Just a simple scare and he confessed. "Brother, you're right. Today, let that Li Fan know what is called the underworld." Lin smiled. "Don't talk nonsense. There is no underworld nowadays." As a result, Wu Ji gave him a supercilious look, "If you talk nonsense again, I'll punish you with 3 bottles of wine tonight." Look at my broken mouth." Without hesitation, Lin directly slapped his own mouth, making a crisp sound. "Brother, don't be angry. Next time, I'll pay attention to my words." "Alright, let's play cards." Wu Ji said and glanced at Huang Lei, who was beaten to death. "Why is he sleeping? This is not a hotel. Go, wake him up." "Yes." A thin man from the side walked over, squatted in front of Huang Lei, and stretched out his hand to give him a big slap. With a slap, this slap was much crisper than Lin slap. Huang Lei was awakened. Looking at the few people who were playing cards in front of him, he groaned twice. "I say, Lei, you're not young anymore. You should think about yourself." Wu Ji played cards and casually said, "Say, if you're missing an arm or a leg, how can you live in society in the future? Thank you for your concern, brother." Huang Lei smiled, "But, I really don't know why brother asked me to stay. I'm just a little punk. Every day, I pee and muddy. How can I be worthy of brother's attention? Don't be so modest. Our Lei has been living a good life recently." Wu Ji said with a smile, "Every day he smokes in Yushi, drinks Maotai, 3 seafood meals, 2 barbecue meals. This life is better than mine. I've let brother laugh at me." Huang Lei smiled, "I'm born with a grudge against money. Now that I have some money in my pocket, I must quickly spend it. Otherwise, my heart will feel bad. You're glib. There will be a day when you cry." Wu Ji was not annoyed. He slowly said, "When your big brother comes, I'll talk to him. You've recognized a new big brother. No matter what, I have to see him. Brother, if you have any problem, just come at me. Why are you looking for my big brother? My big brother doesn't know these things. If he offends you, we can't afford it." Huang Lei started to panic. He thought to himself that if his big brother came, this matter would be blown out of proportion. Wu Ji was different from the others. He was special. Not only did he have a good relationship with the Red Dragon Gang, but he was also friends with a few other big brothers in the underworld.
Not only that, even the other 2 big gangs in a city, the Yellow Clothes Group and the Vanguard, had a bit of an ambiguous relationship with Wu Ji. It was said that when Wu Ji was in charge of the gang, he was on duty. These big brothers had all been in his cell for a few days. Wu Ji had good taste and brains. He took good care of all the big brothers. Therefore, although he only opened a mahjong parlor in a city, no matter which gang, they all had to give him some face. This was why Huang Lei was afraid of Wu Ji. If Li Fan came and fought with Wu Ji, he would definitely make a lot of enemies. Especially this time, if the news of the black eating the black got out, then everything would be over. Big brother, please don't come. I, Lei, am not afraid of your loyalty. As long as you don't come, they will at most beat me half to death. Huang Lei prayed silently in his heart. But he was also a bit conflicted. Maybe in his heart, he still hoped that his big brother would come. Huang Lei, you've been in this underworld for so many years. How could you expect something like this? Think about it, the 1.5 million is with Bai Lin Luo, and my big brother is holding it. Even if he wanted to kick away a hooligan like him who had no ability, it would also be normal. Are there any real brothers in this business?
Chapter 102. Today, Wu Ji's luck was good. He killed several times in a row. But at this moment, he suddenly slapped the mahjong table and shouted. Fuck, I forgot something. Brother, what's wrong? Lin Er quickly asked. I've thought of something important. My brain. Wu Ji patted his forehead. If it was really done by them, they should have drugs and money. Then, a small character like Huang Lei, Li Fan should not care about him. Who would care about this kind of small fry? Miscalculation. Brother, what should we do? It's almost 12 o'clock. Lin Er could not help but ask, he won't come, right? If it's me, I won't come. Wu Ji touched his chin. After all, Huang Lei, this kind of small fry, can be had as many as you want. With so much money, do you still need to worry about not having a few people running errands? Okay, brother, I know what you mean. Lin Er nodded, then took out a mountain axe from under the mahjong table and held it in his hand. That axe blade was polished with unknown material. It was very sharp and flashed a cold light. Even if Huang Lei was heartless, seeing this axe, his heart trembled a bit. I'll help you kill him, brother. I've killed pigs before, I promise I'll do it fast. Lin Er fiercely said. Kill your uncle. Wu Ji rolled his eyes. Can't you be a bit more reliable? What kind of day and age is this, killing people so easily? Kill your head. He could not help but slap Lin Er's head. Just cut off one of his hands. He touched something that he shouldn't touch. Just one of his hands is not much. Brother, if you want one of my hands, I don't object. Huang Lei said, after all, you're the big brother, I'm just a small fry. If big brother wants one of my hands, that's my honor. But brother, you can't slander me. I, Huang Lei, may be a petty thief, but what you're talking about, taking drugs. I've never done anything like that. Huang Lei muttered in his heart, anyway, I didn't take the drugs, it was Fu Fan. I don't care if you took it or not. Who asked you to use the boat for those 2 days? Wu Ji said, my brother went in, and I have to give him an explanation. Although there is no clear evidence, I feel that this matter is most likely related to you. Just one of your hands is already a bargain for you. Alright, let's chop them up. Huang Lei took the initiative to extend his hand. This is only the first step. Wu Ji laughed. The second step is to send you to the cell and lock you up with my brother. I'll leave the rest to my brother. I didn't do anything illegal. How could I be in jail? You're going to do it now. Wu Ji said and clapped his hands. Lin Er immediately stepped forward and stuffed 20,000 yuan into Huang Lei's pocket. You see, you stole 20,000 yuan from me. My brother got angry and cut off one of your hands. You two have to go to the cell together. You see how thoughtful I am, arranging someone to take care of you. Huang Lei's heart turned cold. He thought that this Wu Ji was too ruthless. He actually thought of such a sinister method. I don't want to stay in the cell. Huang Lei covered his buttocks. I heard that nowadays, there are always people who have buttocks. Who the hell cares about your buttocks? Lin Er glared at Huang Lei. Once you're in the cell, I'll take half of your life first. With that, he raised the axe in his hand. Wait. At this moment, Huang Lei was finally afraid. What? Didn't we agree? If my brother doesn't come before 12, then we'll make our move. Huang Lei looked at Wu Ji. You're my brother. You have to keep your words. Still not giving up? Fine. Wu Ji looked at his watch. There's still half an hour. I'll let you live in peace for half an hour. I, Wu Ji, have a good heart. I can't do anything about it. I'm a Buddhist. Huang Lei clenched his teeth. This is called good heart. You still have the nerve to believe in Buddha. But brother, will you really come? Huang Lei was not sure. After all, he was really insignificant to his brother. Little Four Eyes could help his brother strategize. He was his brother's strategist. Even that foreign aide, Guan Wenbao, could help his brother fight for the country. Only he did not have any ability. If he did not drag his brother down, it would already be amazing. Would his brother really be willing to save a hooligan like him? There's only 5 minutes left, brother. Lin Er seemed to be a little impatient. I think that brat won't come. Let's just chop him up. Fine. Wu Ji nodded. Sooner or later, you'll have to chop him up. Lei, just accept it. Remember, you're just a stray dog. You were abandoned that year. You're still the same now. Seeing Lin Er getting closer, Huang Lei slowly closed his eyes. He could not help but recall 5 years ago when his brother patted his shoulder and said, Lei, good brother. Go and stay in prison for 3 years on behalf of your brother. After you come out, your brother will let you have a good life. Just because of this sentence, Huang Lei abandoned Xiaosu. He went to prison and stayed there for 3 years. After he came out, things were different. Xiaosu ran away with someone else. When he went to find his brother didn't even see him. He only asked his brother to give him 10,000 yuan and sent him away. 3 years, a lifetime of brotherhood, in exchange for 10,000 yuan. At this moment, Huang Lei's heart seemed to be a little unwilling, as if there was something that was trying to struggle. But it was only for a moment. He quickly let out a breath and completely cut off his last trace of hope. Perhaps, I'm really a stray dog. What's the meaning of my life? I'm willing to be a domestic dog in my next life. At least I can have a nest. The moment Lin Er's axe was about to fall, the mahjong parlor's door was suddenly kicked open. Bang!
The door panels flew to both sides, and the midday sun shone in. Li Fan was wearing the familiar white and blue school uniform. He stood there with one hand holding a strong man. The people at the door don't believe that I'm Huang Lei's brother. Li Fan's eyes fell on Huang Lei, but he said to Wu Ji, do you mind if I teach you a lesson? You're Li Fan. Wu Ji looked at Li Fan. Interesting, you actually came. Big brother. Huang Lei couldn't believe it himself. You actually came to save me? Isn't that obvious? Otherwise, why would I come here? To play mahjong. Li Fan's heroic spirit soared. I want to see who dares to touch you. Big brother. I'm just a little punk. Is it worth it for you to risk your life for me? Don't mess around. Li Fan said solemnly, you treat me sincerely, so I will naturally treat you sincerely as well. With Big Brother's words, even if I die today, it's worth it. Huang Lei was really relieved this time. The meaning of his life was probably to follow Li Fan to explore this world.
Chapter 103. Clap, clap, clap. Wu Ji clapped his hands. What a touching scene, but what's the use of this? Li Fan, since you've already got the money, you shouldn't have come here. Since you're here, you can't leave. I'm here to save my brother. What's the meaning of getting the money? Li Fan was not stupid. He immediately pretended to be stupid. Friend, I'm not familiar with you. Don't accuse me of something inexplicable. Close the door. Wu Ji did not say anything else, but first snapped his fingers. Someone immediately closed the iron door, locking Li Fan inside the mahjong house. There were a total of 4 tables of people playing mahjong in this mahjong house, adding up to 16 punks. All of them pulled out their axes from under the mahjong table, holding them in their hands, and staring at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. Yo, Hongmen banquet. Li Fan laughed. That's not right. A Hongmen banquet has to have wine and meat. You guys don't even have a cup of tea, you're just trying to get something without risking anything. We do have wine and meat here, but it's to entertain friends. Wu Ji bluntly said, to entertain the enemy, there's only an axe. How should I address this friend? Wu Ji, the people in the underworld call me Boss Wu. When Wu Ji mentioned his own name, he felt a little proud. You big idiot, you don't even know our brother's name, yet you dare to come here? Lin Er could not help but laugh. What an idiot, with this kind of conduct, you still want to mingle in the underworld. Aren't you afraid of being beaten to death when you go out? I'm standing in front of you. If you have the ability, come and hit me. Li Fan hooked his finger at Lin Er. Brother, he wants me to beat him. Lin Er could not help but grin. In my entire life, this is the first time I've heard such a stupid request. Do you think I should beat him or not? Go ahead, give him some color to see. Wu Ji nodded and agreed to Lin Er's request. Lin Er grinned and walked towards Li Fan. Kid, consider yourself unlucky. At such a young age, he dared to call himself the big brother. Today, I'll teach you what it means to act tough. As he spoke, he chopped at Li Fan's arm with his axe. Even though Lin Er had been spending most of his time with alcohol and women after retiring from the army, he was still physically fit, so his attacks were fast, accurate, and ruthless. However, Li Fan didn't care. At his level, unless it was an enemy like Li Wenjue, he wouldn't take ordinary people seriously. He immediately turned around and dodged Lin Er's axe. At the same time, he used the force of turning around to kick Lin Er's chest. Bai Lu kicked the door. When Li Fan saw that Lin Er wanted to chop Huang Lei, he was already a little angry, so he took this opportunity to vent it out. Pooh! Lin Er suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood as his body flew out for 7 to 8 meters, finally crushing a mahjong table. The 4 legs of the mahjong table were all broken. Lin Er was lying there with a huge dent in his chest. It was obvious that even his bones had been broken. His mouth kept spitting out blood. Obviously, he was seriously injured. Everyone else was shocked. No one expected that Li Fan's kick would have such terrifying power. Li Fan was also shocked. He seemed to have forgotten that he was already a qualified martial artist. If he were to be ruthless towards ordinary people, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. That kick just now was only 30% of his strength. If it was 100%, perhaps Lin Er's heart would have been crushed by his kick. If you send him to the hospital earlier, he can still be saved. Although Li Fan was shocked, his face was calm. He retracted his leg and said slowly, "Motherfucker, who are you trying to scare? Do you think this daddy is scared?" Another man with a scar on his face rushed forward with an axe in both hands. He wanted to chop Li Fan into meat paste. Ape-long fist. Li Fan swung his hand and punched the man's arm. Gotcha! With a sound, the man's arm was directly fractured. He screamed and knelt on the ground, holding his arm and rolling on the ground. Although Li Fan didn't use his inner strength had already spread throughout his body. Even if he wanted to control his strength, ordinary people wouldn't be able to withstand it after he made his move. Li Fan seemed to understand the purpose of the existence of the genie guards. If martial artists interfered too much with the ordinary people's world, it would indeed have a terrible impact. However, he was already involved in this surging tide and was pushed step by step to this place. Today, his main goal was to save people, not to hurt people. Li Fan slowly took a breath and adjusted his strength. Muronging had told him before that in the martial arts, strength was calculated by oxen, tigers, and dragons. 1 dragon was equivalent to 5 tigers, and 1 tiger was equivalent to 5 oxen. A beginner martial artist would roughly have the strength of 1 ox. As for mastery, it would be the strength of 5 oxen. With his current level of mastery, it would be the strength of 9 oxen and 2 tigers. Further up, it would be the strength of 5 tigers. At the peak of perfection, it would be the strength of 9 tigers and 2 dragons. At the Grandmaster level, it would be the strength of 5 dragons to 10 dragons. Muronging had said before that she had the strength of 4 dragons and 4 tigers. She was already close to the Grandmaster level. As for his current strength, it would be around the strength of 4 tigers. This was under the situation where he circulated all his true qi. If he didn't circulate all his true qi, an ordinary body would be able to exert the strength of 9 oxen. Thinking about it, how could an ordinary person withstand 9 oxen? Not to mention 9 oxen, even if it was just 1 oxen, that person would be heavily injured. The last time he met Li Wenjue, his strength was slightly weaker. He was probably only about 3 tigers. However, his strength was that he had an invincible golden body. This was the most difficult thing to deal with. As for Guan Wenbao, he had the strength of 4 tigers. However, the difference was that the Guan family's saber technique was suitable for killing enemies, not for close combat. If Guan Wenbao rode on that warhorse called Lisa and fought with him, it would be hard to tell who would win. Seeing Li Fan break a person's bones with 1 punch, the rest of the hooligans were scared. They were not idiots. This guy did not look like a good person. They did not want to lose an arm or a leg. Li Fan's gaze fell on the hooligan closest to him. That guy's axe was already raised above his head. "Big brother, let me peel an apple for you." The gangster's brain worked quickly. He quickly picked up an apple next to him and started peeling it with the axe. He peeled it until it was too horrible to look at. "Boss Wu, do you want to have a peaceful talk?" Li Fan's gaze fell on Wu Ji. The latter actually shivered. "Little brother, your skills are very good." Wu Ji thought of his identity and said, "But as a person, you can't be so ruthless. Being upright is easy to break." "That's right, I admit it." Li Fan spat out a few words through his teeth, "But I hate it more when others ride on my head and shit on me." You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.